And Sports Radio 810 WHB is your home for the NFL playoffs.
Wilson throws for the end zone. Metcalf has it. Touchdown, Seattle.
We'll bring you live coverage of all the action from the wild card round to the Super Bowl.
Touchdown! That's it! That's it!
Your home for the NFL playoffs. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
On the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. You've been listening to Hawk Talk with Bill Self. Tune in each week to get the latest on Jayhawk basketball from the head coach, Bill Self. Tonight's edition of Hawk Talk has been brought to you by Johnny's Tavern, a great local sports bar from Blue Springs to Topeka with 11 locations. Visit johnnystavern.com for the location nearest you. Capital Federal Savings, True Blue for over 125 years. Bud Light. Whenever there's a Jayhawk game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. By the University of Kansas Health System, the official healthcare provider of Kansas Athletics. Intrust Bank, proud supporter of Kansas basketball and all Kansas athletics. And by Sun Graphics, proud printing partner of Kansas Athletics. Preceding has been a Learfield IMG College presentation on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Steve Lennox, 5 years, $228 million. That is the super max contract extension that Giannis Antetokounmpo signed today with the Milwaukee Bucks. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski earlier on SportsCenter on who wins with the Giannis signing.
For John Horst, the general manager and owner, Mark Lazary, this is a huge coup for Milwaukee and I think for smaller market teams all over the NBA to be able to keep a player of this stature. This is a big day for the Bucks.
That is ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski earlier on SportsCenter. The reigning two-time league MVP would have become an unrestricted free agent next summer if he did not meet the deadline. Alabama is going to face Florida in the SEC title game on Saturday. Alabama remains at number one in the latest top 25 college football playoff rankings that were released earlier tonight. Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas A&M, ranked 2 through 5. Iowa State is in at number 6. Notre Dame Clemson meets Saturday in the ACC Championship. That game plus the Big 12 Championship between Oklahoma and Iowa State will both air on ABC TV and ESPN Radio. The college football playoff is expected to keep one of the two semifinal games at the Rose Bowl as scheduled. That from ESPN's Heather Dinich. Michigan has canceled its regular season finale set for Saturday at Iowa. Indiana and Purdue also canceling their game for Saturday as well. Both games canceled due to COVID-19 concerns. Panthers coach Matt Rhule does not expect Christian McCaffrey to play Saturday against the Green Bay Packers.
Wednesday on ESPN Radio, we look back at the college football playoff rankings, the final ones before the ones that make all the difference. What clues will the committee give us? Talk about that and more with me, Greeny, starting noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and streaming on ESPN+.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
When do you think about your insurance? Chances are it's when you're paying your bill or filing a claim. At Briar Payne Mead, we always think about your insurance. It's what we do. Buying a car, having a baby, building a home, starting a business. Then it's time to call BPM at 913-681-099 or visit us on the web at bpminsurance.com. Great service and extremely competitive rates from the top-rated companies. Briar Payne Mead, 913-681-099. That's 913-681-099.
Sports Radio 810 is proud to be Kansas City's home for the National Football League.
Winds up, he throws a long pass, wide open Hill, catches the ball at the 22 of San Francisco. What a play by Mahomes!
From Monday night to Sunday night and every game in between, keep it right here on your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl.
50 years a lifetime.
Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Did you know on average people only review their insurance plans once every 4 years? Hi, this is Corey Schnabel, owner of Casey Insurance Group. Call Casey Insurance Group today at 913-396-6320 for a no-obligation review of your current policy. If your current policy is the best fit for you, we'll tell you. If not, we'll save you some money with a tailored proposal from one of the best carriers in Kansas City. It's truly a win-win. Casey Insurance Group voted 2019's best agency by Pitch Magazine. 913-396-6320 or visit us online at caseyinsured.com.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Isn't this a sports show?
So I got a haircut yesterday, 2 days ago. I also brought the beard in a little bit today. Ooh. And so this is basically, I'm just waiting for the guy that said I looked fatter on Facebook than I sound on the radio.
Almost entirely.
Just come back now. It was mostly fluff. Facebook commenter.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
He also called into the postgame show at one point, and he's cool. Mom, please stop bullying that guy. It's fine. Not a joke. Not a joke. Not a joke. None of what I just said was a joke. Every single syllable was a real thing.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
That was bad. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but it was bad. There it is. Hold on. Let me change that. That was bad. I admit it. I'm not sorry.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A lot of layers in today's show, but none of them can be fully enjoyed until we celebrate that the Chiefs didn't only beat the Miami Dolphins, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with help from the Buffalo Bills. So with that being said, woo! That was a good one. I got some vertical on today's party popper. Welcome. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Rudy, you okay?
Gunpowder.
Yeah, it really does. There's
Get
that sense memory. Yeah. Someday, 40 years from now, whenever I've lost my my empire of dirt to some horrible tragedy, or I don't know, Troy Aikman has me fired or something. I'm going to, at a random birthday party, smell the scent of the gunpowder out of a party popper, and I'm going to immediately start doing a radio show just for the random kids who are attending the birthday party. And I'm not going to be able to help myself.
I mean, that's fair.
Also, a really wonderful dichotomy is currently happening where I am begging this headphone jack to let me hear my own voice.
No, that's not important.
But also, we've made a technological achievement tonight here on the show.
Speaking of which, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I assume, is our Twitch just Sports Radio 810 WHB?
It's Sports Radio 810.
Beautiful.
No extra characters on the end of it. No whoop. It is Sports Radio 810, not mentioning the fact that we're the world's happiest broadcasters. Now, you might be saying, wait a second. Did Rudy just say Sports Radio 810 Twitch? The whole show's not going to be about this, but I want you to know that as this show has done so many times before, we're pioneers again tonight. We started by bringing the show on to Facebook, down on the ESPN Kansas City iteration of Almost Entirely Sports. Had a really surprisingly successful setup that we ran through that way. Well, now, here tonight, we're kicking off another round of technological, again, advancements and, to some extent, experiments where you can watch almost entirely sports. And right now, it's just AES is the voluntary guinea pig on this front. We'll see what this holds for 810 as a whole going forward. But starting now and tonight, you can watch Almost Entirely Sports on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page, as always. On the Almost Entirely Sports Facebook page, as always. On the Sports Radio 810 Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/Sports Radio 810, if that's easier for you. On the Sports Radio 810 WHB YouTube channel, which I don't know the URL to that off the top of my head, but Rudy probably does. Just pulled it up.
Just because I'm on the video, it actually took away. It's got the watch, but it is just it should just be 810WHB. YouTube.com/user/810WHB. Yes.
Just 6 characters there to remember.
Yep, 810WHB.
And you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got way more stuff on the YouTube channel than we have on the other places right now. But here's the gist of it.
Currently watching you on 3 different platforms. Well, 4 if you count real life.
Yeah.
I got Facebook up on my computer. The next tab over is YouTube. The next tab over is Twitch. And then this tab, you.
You've got the 4D theater experience at this point. Like, you are just...
YouTube Josh so far is my favorite, Josh.
That's great to know. I'd love for you
Real life might be 4th.
Yeah, me too. For me as well. I was testing Twitch on my personal Twitch channel last night, which I'd never gone live on Twitch before. I was trying to set up some stuff and try to work out some of the bugs that I thought we might run into in the stream tonight. And I gotta say, Twitch JB Briscoe is a good time. Is Twitch JB Briscoe is he gonna curse? Is he gonna say something he shouldn't? I don't know. Is someone that he's playing Among Us with gonna curse? Absolutely. Is he taking questions about which 810 and Kansas City media colleagues would be best and worst at Among Us? Absolutely. Can you imagine Seren Petro telling you that you're a little bit sus and really coming at you? I'd be terrified. I'd confess to a murder I didn't do. I think Corey Anderson would be bad at it. I said that on the Twitch stream. I'll say it again here tonight. I think he'd be fun to play with. I think he'd be bad at it.
Who do you think would be the worst?
I think it's Corey. Maybe Jason. No, you know what? It might be Jason. It's definitely an Anderson, though, unfortunately. It might be Shane. No, I think Shane's sneaky good at it.
Shane, I see. I agree with that. I think Shane would be sneaky good. Like Shane is very good at going under the radar, like just keeping under the radar. You don't totally know what's going on, but you feel like you trust him. And then you look at Shane in the face, you're like, that's
I trust
a man.
That man.
That's a man I can trust.
100%.
He wouldn't rip my head off, and the next thing you know, your head's gone.
That's a great point. That's a man's out here doing his tasks. Whoops, there I go. Now I'm a ghost. Yeah, that's a great point. Anyway, we have. I would say right now we're batting like 800 in terms of streaming to all the places we wanted to be streaming to on our first try.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. We'll figure out the Twitter thing later.
We could maybe say like Facebook was like maybe 3/4 of the way just because, and part of that was just because we weren't for sure exactly how it worked, but we're on.
Here's
the
thing.
That matters.
Was it working exactly like we needed it to by the time the show started?
Yeah.
It sure was.
We just didn't know that we also had to hit go live still, which is fine.
Took an extra
That's
step.
Not a problem.
But so you might say, Josh, I'm listening to this on terrestrial radio. Why do I give a bleep about Twitch? Or I'm watching on Facebook, and this is good enough for me. Do I need to go watch it on YouTube? First of all, I mean, yeah, that'd be great. You want to help us hike our numbers up? Sure thing. But really, this is just a reminder and another place where we can bring the show to you and put it in front of your eyes wherever you most enjoy consuming things.
Here's what you do. Tomorrow when you get into work, more than likely you got a computer, you got a desk, you got a computer. And you know what? You're busy. You maybe you're listening to Spotify on your phone, whatever. You know, you're doing your thing. You just have a tab open. You mute that tab, and you just let the entire AES stream play. And when you're done with YouTube, you go to Twitch and you let that entire thing play. Just help pad the numbers. You don't have to watch or listen to any of it.
I would say open them all up at once and
Even
just
better.
mute it.
Just
let
mute
it
them all.
run.
Let them all go at one time. You don't actually have to listen or watch, but help with the numbers. This is if you're not listening or watching now, of course, live. If you're watching on Facebook now, tomorrow go to Twitch, go to YouTube. Do your job. Download the podcast, play it 3 times speed. Again, don't gotta listen. Help the numbers.
And if you're listening on podcast, just make sure you're subscribed in every podcast platform.
Yep.
No, but really, if you can, wherever is most convenient for you. That's the point of having the show in as many places as possible. Also, Rudy, this is not a you problem. This is a me problem. I got our guest order wrong whenever I told you tonight. Seth Kaiser will be joining us in 45 minutes.
Oh.
Matt Verderame will be joining us at 9 o'clock.
Gotcha.
I screwed up. If you want to redo the tweet,
no
we
problem.
probably should. And that is me saying on the radio, that one's on me. And I'm basically Patrick Mahomes. Even if I underthrow a pass, after the throw, I'm still doing the thing where I'm pulling backwards and come back to the ball.
Like you're supposed to come this way.
Even though it was a bad pass.
I will get right on that, but I do want to recognize that Reeps is pro. Says, yo, I'm hyped on Twitch. So our first Twitch commenter ever.
There we go. Congratulations. What was the username?
I would say it's pronounced Reeps. But with the Z, so Reep ZZ is pro, so Reeps is pro.
Sure. Congratulations for our first Twitch commenter. So watch the show, listen to the show wherever is most convenient for you, and if you want to go follow our Twitch channel and also mine, and just help us launch to another stratosphere, help us become a sports radio show, a sports radio station that is flying through the atmosphere with help of Twitch. I'm ready for my G Fuel sponsorship. I'm just going to say that. I'm ready to have a promo code for G Fuel. I'm drinking one right now. What else do I need to be? I played Among Us on Twitch last night, and now we got a radio show on Twitch. That's the sound. That's the sound of some G Fuel shaking up, baby. I know it's not short for Gamer Fuel, but for me it is.
Isn't it though?
I think it's Gamma Fuel.
That actually might make more sense. Yeah. But it's Gamer Fuel.
It's Gamer Fuel to me. Real. I have the glow in the dark bottle. So anyway, there's our new fun thing. This is sort of a weird time today and tomorrow we're working out all the kinks, and then beginning of 2021, I think we'll hit our stride. Tonight and tomorrow night are our last two almost entirely sports, at least with me hosting, of 2020. So we'll talk to Seth Kaiser here in 45 minutes. Even though I told Rudy it would be at 9. I know. Seth knows. Verderame knows. We know.
Here's the thing. There are some time changes, obviously, today that we haven't been used to in a while. It can at least a little bit of rust, right?
I'm a little rusty.
Fair.
That's fine. Mine's got a little rust on it. Come back for the ball. But so we will have Seth and Verderame both for the last time in this wonderful year of 2020 that's just been such a barn burner. And by barn burner, I mean you walk outside and your barn's been burned down and you're like, what the hell, 2020? Why did you do that? And we'll talk to them, wrap up the year with them. We'll have another show tomorrow, and then I'm off for the rest of the year. We'll be back in 2021, and at that point, we might be on our new streaming service. Periscope's getting shut down at the end of the year, so we'll figure out a way to be streaming on Twitter, which would be good to figure out because that's where our largest audience is. But we'll figure it out.
It might be March 30th. Almost in March 31st. Is there 31 days in March?
I don't remember.
I think it might be the last day of March.
It's dead then, but I'm hoping that our new software that we're working with now will get us to the Twitter live sphere early in, and also I know some people have already figured it out. We're gonna get there. Anyway, there's all that.
Worst case, it'll still be a tweet. That'll at the very least have a link to a Facebook video.
We're gonna get the Twitter live figured out. Just maybe not today or tomorrow. Baby steps. You want us to be good at this all at once? Are you kidding? Do you know who you're talking to? Almost entirely streaming on all the places we want for it to be. That's an achievement. Anyway, I'll mention that a few times over the course of the show, but it's youtube.com/users/810WHB, twitch.tv/sportsradio810, facebook.com/sportsradio810, twitter.com/sportsradio810. I think I got them all. If I did, and also facebook.com/entirely sports if you want to just follow the AES stuff in addition to getting the 810 thing. So there you go. Now we can talk about the Chiefs game. The gunpowder smell has wafted, but the victory and the impact of it have not. So the Chiefs win a game where the final score is, as has become a bit of the norm, not reflective of how the game felt like it was going. And that's a positive. That's a good thing because the Chiefs had as many bad things as you could have happen to you, more or less. And it still felt like they were firmly in control again by halftime. And look, the one thing the Dolphins didn't do, they didn't maximize on all of those mistakes. Early in the game, they ended up being up 7-0 when they should have been up probably 14-0, if not at least 10-0. They went up 10-0 later. They should have had a hotter start than they did. They should have made the Chiefs pay even more for the mistakes that they made. But, and I'm spoiler alert for what we'll talk to Seth about, because he's already written about this in the Chief of the North newsletter, so I know that this is kind of his main takeaway, but I think it's a good one. We talked about it on the postgame show as well. The Chiefs lost the turnover battle 4-1, and I'm going to make an argument for really it was basically 5-1. And it never got that spooky after they scored their first touchdown. I think I tweeted at the time that I was like a 7.5 out of 10 nervous after the Chiefs had their second early interception, and the Dolphins went and they had to settle for a field goal. Once it became 10-7 Miami, I felt good again. But 10-0 with the 3 drives they had to start the game was a little spooky. But the amazing thing about it is that they had that type of absolutely disastrous start where, again, I'll make the argument, they essentially had turnovers every possession, every one of their first 3 possessions. And by halftime, and certainly by the end of the third quarter, the game was well within their control and then basically over after 3. This isn't a blueprint the Chiefs should be following. Everyone knows that. They shouldn't start every game with 3 disastrous possessions. That's obvious. I shouldn't have to clarify that, but I'm clarifying it anyway. But it's remarkable to note that even whenever things are going not just not great, but whenever things are going really, really bad for the Chiefs, those deficits get erased in the blink of an eye. And whenever they have to be good, they are. The one loss in the last year and a month or whatever now is the loss to the Raiders. That game was a time when the offense wasn't really the side that they could have scored more points. But they weren't really the side that needed to pick up the slack. The defense just needed to get a well-timed stop, and the Chiefs are undefeated right now. But if the Chiefs' defense is just able to keep things from becoming a boat race, then offensively they're going to do what they need to do to get back into the game. And that sounds really sort of amoebic. It sounds like something that I can't possibly say with that kind of confidence, because that's throughout the sport is random. It is a random thing to say, well, they'll get it figured out whenever they need to. They'll flip the switch. I don't like that logic. It usually ends up being either an excuse for mistakes or a promise of something that you cannot promise. But for the Chiefs, it's just about, will they have enough time? And they've had enough time every game for the last year and change, with the exception of one slugfest against the Raiders earlier this year. The Texans game and the Titans game, and obviously the Super Bowl, being the 2 Texans and Titans playoffs games, and the Super Bowl, they've done this often enough now to expect it. Not to be comfortable with it necessarily, but whenever they're down 10-0 with 3 disastrous offensive drives, as long as it's not 21-0 by the end of that, you've got to feel pretty good about it. And to the Chiefs' defensive credit, it was 10-0. And then it was 10-7. And then it was 14-10. And then it was 21-10. And then it was 28-10. And then it was 30-10. And for all intents and purposes, the game was over. Another pick kept the game alive for the Dolphins. That's crazy. Any other team anywhere has that start and that many turnovers. I didn't even mention Mecole Hardman's fumble yet. You have that many things go not just poorly. I'm not just talking about, you shank an extra point, you settle for a field goal when you should get a touchdown, you get stuffed in the red zone again, right? disastrous drives. And it just never really mattered. That is a remarkably rare thing to find anywhere in sports, certainly in football, certainly in the NFL. Think about all the times. One thing that I love about the last, 20 years of Chiefs football, I've probably been, exceptionally plugged in for the last 10 of them. And I don't mean plugged in I mean paying attention, I started paying much closer attention to the Chiefs when I was around 13. So I'm talking about a dozen years now of me being like, I am trying to understand what's going on here on some level. One of the things I love about the fact that we were not only rooting for Trent Green teams, but then, Damon Heward, Brody Croyle teams, and eventually Matt Castle teams, and eventually Alex Smith teams.
Forgot the GOAT.
Tyler Thigpen teams.
Heck yeah.
The reason I'm glad we got to watch and root for those teams
is because Tyler Thigpen was really good.
It's because it was great, yeah. Is because Tyler Thigpen's really good. It is because we should have absolutely no problem remembering what that was like. Remember all the games against the Patriots and the Steelers and the Colts and, later the Peyton Manning Broncos. What were the keys of the game you would see on CBS before they kicked off at noon, as they always did? It was, you gotta,
not suck.
You gotta establish the run.
Just be all right.
You gotta take advantage. You gotta be good in the red zone.
Don't turn the ball over.
And you've gotta not turn the ball over. And
create turnovers.
You've got to create turnovers. You have to play your best game and hope that the team on the other side of the ball doesn't. You have to figure out a way to make Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger to throw a pick. And then you have to capitalize on that. And God in heaven, if you turn the ball over, go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 because the game is over. We've been on that side of it. We have heard those conversations so many times. When Dan Fouts would tell us that at noon on CBS, game after game after godforsaken game. And now, the Chiefs are not even in the place of the inverse, where you're saying, if you can just create a bunch of turnovers and then not turn the ball over, you're going to be okay. Maybe give them a run for their money. The Dolphins did all of that, and the Chiefs scored 33 points. The Chiefs turned the ball over 4 times, twice in the red zone, and scored 33 points. This game the final score of this game could have been 47-27. McCole Hardman holds on to the ball or just goes ahead and dances the rest of the way into the end zone. That's a 40-burger. Patrick Mahomes gets that ball over Xavier Howard or just doesn't throw it. That pick happened on first down. He throws that ball away, gets it over Xavier Howard, or Howard just doesn't make an incredible play. 7 more points. The issues at the beginning, here's why I say that it's basically 3 turnovers to start the game. So you get the first pick. Mahomes throws the first pick. I can't remember which one was. The first one was the check down, and the guy is on the ground and pops up, right?
Pops up last second, yeah.
I was going to say Van Noy. He didn't play. It was Van Ginkel.
It was the guy who replaced Van Noy.
Van Ginkel. They replaced Van Noy with Van Ginkel.
Well, of course. If you're gonna lose a van, you don't replace a van with a Mitsubishi. You replace a van with a van. You're a van person.
I'm kind of annoyed about how good that joke was because it became a car joke, and I wasn't expecting it. That's a good joke. So Mahomes throws that pick there, and then the next drive, or two drives later, after the Dolphins touchdown, at the Dolphin 38, because mercifully they had that pass to Sammy Watkins that got him across midfield and everything. He throws that pick that bounces off the fingertips of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The drive in the middle, though, the one that I say is basically a turnover, was the punt that came after the 30-yard sack. Here, which also came after the botched snap, which I actually had forgotten about. Botched snap, lose 9 yards. Go to Travis Kelce, pick up 7. Then you take a 30-yard sack. Tommy Townsend punts it from the 3, which means he was actually backed up in the end zone. The Chiefs, so here's why this is basically a touchdown, or basically a turnover. The Chiefs started with the ball at the 35-yard line, on their own 35-yard line. Townsend had kind of a rushed punt because he was in the end zone. It was not a great punt by any means. They started the drive on their 35-yard line. The punt landed, or it went out of bounds, at the 44-yard line. Tommy Townsend's punt, because of the botched snap and the 30-yard sack, which, by the way, this Mahomes kid really needs to figure out. He's a human being. He needs to stop taking so many risks. Between the snap and the sack, the Chiefs had lost 33 yards of field position and ended up with the punt gaining 9 total yards of field position where the Dolphins started from when the Chiefs started, which, long equation here, it was the exact same as if Patrick Mahomes on 3rd and 10 or whatever had thrown a interception 9 yards downfield and that guy was immediately tackled there. Because that was the amount of field position they picked up by the punt because all those bad things happened. So it was basically turning the ball over 3 straight times. And it just wasn't that big of a deal. It just didn't really matter. Because that's where the Chiefs are at right now. There's a lot of interesting stuff from this game. There's some stuff from Bills Steelers I want to talk about. The Chiefs, by the way, also locked up an AFC West divisional title for just the 5th consecutive time. No one, I don't want to say no one. Most people aren't going out and buying the AFC West Divisional Championship hats and shirts or whatever. If you think, if you got it for a Christmas present and you're like, hey, listen, we got one from the last 5 years and we're gonna get the merch every time they win anything. God bless you. That's fine. I'm not telling you not to. I'll be judgmental about things that deserve it. They actually, by the way, the Divisional Championship hats this year look pretty good. I think they're doing something interesting stylistically, where they're putting basically just a patch on the hats instead of designing them around. Being as generic as possible. A little bit of a step up, design-wise. Good job, NFL hat people. But, buy the merch if you want. Most people probably aren't, because you're expecting at least the AFC Championship shirts. And frankly, if they don't win at all, you might just buy more Super Bowl 54 merch. But, the AFC, getting to another Super Bowl would be a tremendous achievement. Buy your AFC Championship stuff, that's fine. But everybody's really holding back at least a few extra bucks for that Super Bowl LV champion hat that may or may not be available in 2 months. The Chiefs get it. They talk about it. I get it. You get it. Everyone understands the Chiefs' season will not be... If they got the first round... If they got the AFC West Championship and they got bounced in the first round... And now with the bye, they get bounced in the divisional round, just their first game. This season would have, I don't know if it would be an up and down disappointment, but it would be really deflating. It would be disappointing, if not a disappointment. Even, this is crazy, losing in the AFC Championship game would be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, which is the height of sports fandom privilege, and I will not apologize for it. We all totally understand those elements of it. And also, I feel a little silly for taking 30 minutes to mention the fact that the Chiefs won the division again. Because for all of those teams and those quarterbacks that I mentioned earlier, Andy Reid said it after the game, they don't give those things out, being AFC West, being divisional championships. Those are hard to win, and the Chiefs have now done it 5 consecutive years. It's totally fine if you don't buy the merch for it. If you're not celebrating in the streets. Like, I don't even remember what year it was. Hey, Rudy, if you remember it, great. If not, we'll figure it out during the break. But I think the Niners won a night game that gave the Chiefs a playoff berth of some sort. This would have probably been 10 years ago, I would guess. I'm also, maybe someone on one of our 97 streams will have the answer. You can tweet me at JB Briscoe or comment on our Twitch stream, our YouTube stream, or our 2 Facebook live streams. We're everywhere, baby, if you remember which one this is. But I think the Niners won a game that gave the Chiefs a playoff berth, where they certainly went and lost in the first round. But I literally remember watching that game and then running around our neighborhood with a friend of mine, just like celebrating that the Chiefs are going to the playoffs. Remembering those moments, I hope, makes us appreciate the fact that we are bored by mere dominant success on a divisional level. Like, the Chiefs are 12-1 and just won the division for the 5th year in a row. And the response is a collective, yeah, that makes sense. It's the right response. It's a fair response, but it doesn't make it any less remarkable. We are on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page, the new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/sportsradio810. We're on YouTube on our channel right now, youtube.com/user singular /810WHB. We're pretty much everywhere you could possibly want it. Maybe some places you don't. You can watch the show in any corner of the internet, and you can tweet me at JB Briscoe if you'd like. We'll take a break, talk more Chiefs whenever we come back, as now they're not just AFC West divisional champions, they're also the standalone #1 seed in the AFC. We'll talk about that next.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Our friends at American Shaman have a smoking hot new product I'm just burning to share with you. Shaman Smokes come in a pack of 20. They're available in cherry, grape, menthol, and original unflavored hemp. So when you're feeling the drag, spark up a Shaman Smoke for the satisfying and relaxing effects of legal hemp. Shaman Smokes are not intoxicating and contain absolutely no nicotine. Ask for Shaman Smokes at your favorite convenience store or pick them up at your local American Shaman. Shaman Smokes from American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
The entire staff of Aristocrat Motors would like to thank you for your support during this challenging year of 2020. We're proud to have been here when you needed us for service, sales, or parts. As the year winds down, if you're in need of a new or pre-owned vehicle, please think of our team of experienced professional sales consultants. They're here to serve you and your vehicle needs. We all wish you and your loved ones a healthy and happy holiday season. Aristocrat Motors, I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or online at aristocratmotors.com.
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. A spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through the Par Excellence website or the Par Excellence app. We appreciate your support of small local businesses, and we will get through this together.
As stressful as moving can be, the best thing is eliminating as much of it as you can. That's where Let's Get Moving came in for us. Hey everyone, Jason Anderson here, and when we knew we were officially making the move, the only choice was the highest rated local moving company in Kansas City. Local guys that started the company to make the moving experience more personally designed for you. Let's Get Moving is a full service company. Local moves, long distance moves, residential and commercial. When you want to make the move smooth and stress free, Let's Get Moving is the company. Check them out at letsgetmovingllc.com.
Prime Lending, Kansas City's leading mortgage company, is excited for the 2020 season and to continue to cheer on the hometown team towards another World Championship run. Prime Lending is ready to assist you with a winning game plan on a mortgage to buy a home or to refinance your current home. Please call or visit any of the 10 KC Metro locations. You can also find them online at yprimelendingkc.com or call 816-600-4561.
All loans subject to credit approval, rates and fees subject to change. Prime Lending of Plains Capital Company, NMLS 13649, Equal Housing Lender.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi! Guess we should talk about something. How's the, vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big!
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
When you want Chiefs, follow the leader. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
And there goes Hill through a wave and down the sidelines he goes.
it's not just an offense, it's not just a defense, it's not just special teams. We're a complete football team that finds ways to win.
It's all about just standing up for the fight. I thought my teammates did that, showing fight, no matter if you're a champion or you're a contender.
Sports Radio 810, WHB.
You can spread love, spread good cheer, and spread some joy this Christmas season. But you don't want to spread a deadly virus that's impacting more and more families across our state. We need your help to stop the spread of COVID-19 in Kansas. Get a free test at one of over 100 sites statewide. It's quick, convenient, and free. You don't have to be experiencing symptoms, but many people don't know they have COVID-19 until they get very sick. Getting a test is the best way to protect your family, friends, and coworkers. Schedule a free test at gettested.com/Kansas. Stop the spread. It's up to us, Kansas.
This is almost entirely sports.
Sometimes this is the show that I envisioned it being. Sometimes this show is basically a show meeting. And sometimes this show is Dan Dokich's show.
With Joshua Briscoe.
And that's when it's the best.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Someday, probably not today, I will have to re-explain when Almost Entirely Sports became Dan Dokich's show because he said Allen Fieldhouse smells bad. That was basically the explanation, actually. I did that pretty efficiently. He said Allen Fieldhouse smells bad. We gave him the ESPN Kansas City call-in number. He called in and complained about Allen Fieldhouse for like 20 minutes. It was a fun show. Anyway. Watch the show wherever you want. I've tweeted out a link to the Twitch. If you're like, you've said it too fast too many times, you can go follow it. Twitch.tv/sportsradio810. I don't know what we're going to end up doing on it in time, but the show will be here. And again, hopefully this just ends up in some powdered energy drink company deciding that Rudy and I are really the stars they need to launch them into an entirely new demographic. Honestly, I've thought for a long time about us kind of being, the bridge from older radio to younger consumers. Maybe I've had this all wrong. Maybe we need to be the bridge from younger companies like your various powdered energy drinks to bring it to a slightly older demographic. We can be the bridge. Bridges connect land, and you can walk on them in both directions.
It's not bad.
We're just a bridge.
So back in 2010, the Bengals beat the Chargers to help the Chiefs clinch the division.
I remember there being...
I'm still going through some seasons, but that was just one thing that popped up.
I just remember there being specifically help from the Niners winning a game. I guess it could have been the Bengals. 2010, you said?
Correct.
No, I wasn't 16. That's too recent. Was I 16 in 2010? Is that right? Yeah, close enough. 15 or 16. It depends on when it actually happens. We'll continue to try to get to the end to that before the end of the hour. We'll have Seth Kaiser of The Athletic and the Chief of the North newsletter in about 20 minutes. I mentioned that we'd talk at least a little bit about the Bills and Steelers game from Sunday Night Football. The Steelers ended up putting up a little bit of a fight later on, but that game felt largely over as soon as the Bills crossed 20 points. Go ahead.
I think you're talking about 2006, maybe?
That's much more. It would have been 12 or 13.
In 2006, the Chiefs clinched the final wild card berth during the final week of the regular season with their win over Jacksonville, a loss by Tennessee, and 2 overtime losses by Cincinnati and Denver. I'll look up the schedule. I'm assuming the 49ers played one of those games.
I think that's right. I think the 49ers beat the Broncos, and I was 13 and stoked for the Chiefs to crawl their way into the playoffs. What year was that?
2006. By the way, we have a texter on the text line asking for the Twitch handle again.
Twitch.tv/sportsradio810. Thank you, texter, for asking about it. The YouTube is youtube.com/810WHB. There are way more videos up there already. Twitch is just now starting.
In 2006, the San Francisco 49ers, 21 in overtime, 26-23 over the Denver Broncos.
And then the reward of that incredible joy that we felt as the Chiefs clawed their way in to that last wild card spot was that then the next week, they lost to the Colts 23-8.
Thank you, Joe Nedney, kicker for the 49ers.
Yeah, it was an overtime field goal, right?
Yep, he made made 4 field goals that day.
Oh!
Went 4 for 4. Well, at least he may have missed along the way. I'm just going to assume though he went 4 for 4.
I was absolutely jacked for Damon Heward to be in the playoffs. I think he played. Was that the year that Trent Green got the concussion against the Bengals? Because Larry Johnson led the team in pretty much everything. Damon Heward and Trent Green split snaps that game that year.
Week 1 they played the Bengals. Week 1 and
So maybe
third
Trent Green
quarter,
was the backup at
quarterback
the end
Trent
of the
Green
year?
received a concussion.
Okay.
Yep. When he was hit by Robert Geathers. I forgot.
Bleep that guy. I'm still mad at that guy. I've been mad at that guy for 15 years.
I forgot that back then the Bengals had a running back that I loved, Rudy Johnson.
Oh
But he spelled his last name with his first name with an I.
Oh, did he really?
R-U-D-I.
Wow. Probably haven't been a ton of Rudies
Not
in the
a lot.
NFL.
Not a lot.
Probably eliminated. You've probably been a pretty close number of Rudies in the NFL and mayors of New York. Do you know there was a movie about a guy named Rudy who played football?
Rudy Johnson?
Rudy loves it whenever
Bengals running back?
Whenever you chant his name at him. He loves it.
Damon Heward came in that game, went 12 of 20, 140 yards and a touchdown.
In the Colts playoff game?
No, against the Bengals.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, in the Colts playoff game. Again, this is just to remind us of all of appreciate what you've got, okay? Appreciate the AFC West divisional titles because a miracle happened and the Chiefs scored 1 touchdown in the game against the Colts that playoff run.
Yeah, Larry Johnson with 13 carries for 32 yards. The Chiefs. Here's the thing: in 2006, and what is considered old school football, the Chiefs had the running back advantage. Larry Johnson to Joseph Adai.
Oh, Joseph Adai was good though.
And they scored 8 points.
Trent Green threw
because even back in 2006,
they had Peyton Manning.
Running backs didn't matter.
Yeah.
We just didn't realize it yet.
Trent Green had 14 completions of 24 attempts for 107 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Took 4 sacks.
We'll say though,
Chiefs picked off Peyton Manning 3 times.
Chiefs were a little ahead of their time back then. They went for 2 in the third quarter.
That's true. It's
that's progressive.
It's because I believe they were down 16 points to Peyton Manning. That is true. They made it a 1-possession game. Yeah. Anyway, I remember that the week before that as being, and I remember it more clearly than I remember the Colts game, obviously, because it was such a joyous moment. And the Chiefs clinched their playoff win 2 weeks ago, and then their AFC West championship last week and on Sunday, and it just felt like I might as well have. It was like running over a leaf in your car.
I gotta give you another crazy stat.
One more.
Damon Heward finished that year with a 98 quarterback rating, second best in the NFL.
Was it behind Peyton?
I don't have that, but I can look it up.
It was either better than Peyton or Brady. Brady was still pretty young. I guess everybody was significantly younger in 2006. So that wasn't useful analysis by me. That year was weird. That era of Chiefs everything was so bizarre.
The era of football in general is just very weird.
It really was. Joseph Adai, 25 carries for 122 yards. That's got to be a
LSU.
Rudy knows every college for every player ever. I don't even want to play
my only gift.
It's your only gift. It's one of 2 gifts. It's that and the fact that you have a famous way of saying your name. Bob Sanders had a pick in that game. Remember Bob Sanders? Anyway, that was useful also.
Peyton Manning was number 1 in NFL ratings that year with 101. Damon Heward was wedged in between Peyton Manning and Drew Brees.
Just 3 peers. Really just 3 peers.
Peyton Manning, Damon Heward, Drew Brees.
Do you think there's a chance that in this radio show tonight, we have said for the first time in the history of Twitch the phrase Damon Heward, the words Damon Heward?
It's possible.
We definitely have the record for most mentions of Damon Heward on Twitch. Absolutely. We've got to at least be the first ones to say Peyton Manning, Damon Heward, Drew Brees.
The quarterback names on this list are so good.
All right, run them down for me. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about the AFC more.
Okay, Donovan McNabb was 4, Tony Romo 5, Carson Palmer 6, Mark Bulger 7, Philip Rivers 8,
Bulger!
Tom Brady
Sorry,
9.
Who was 8?
Philip Rivers.
Okay.
Tom Brady 9, Mark Burnell 10, JP Losman 11, Chad Pennington, the legend 12, Jake Delhomme 13, Steve McNair 14, David Carr 15, David Gerard 16, John Kitna with 17, Eli Manning 18, Matt Hasselbeck 19, Michael Vick 20, Ben Roethlisberger 21, Alex Smith 22, Matt Leinart 23, Rex Grossman 24, Brett Favre 25, Brad Johnson 26, whose son is playing quarterback at LSU, Charlie Fry 27, Jake Plummer 28, Joey Harrington 29, Vince Young 30, Bruce Gradkowski 31, and Andrew Walter 32.
I don't know who Andrew Walter is. Andrew Walter could walk in here right now, and I don't know who he would have played for. Do you have a team name?
Played for Oakland.
Feels like I should know who Andrew Walter is.
He was a Raider. That year, he was 147 for 276, 1,677 yards, and yeah, I had to double check the stat column, make sure that's right. 3 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
Oh no! I just saw that also. Yeah, wow. His interception percentage was nearly 5.
Not good.
As opposed to whenever he played in 2 games in 2018, where his interception percentage was 6.
Not good.
We've definitely become the first channel in Twitch history to mention Andrew Walter. We'll actually talk about the AFC a little bit whenever we come back.
At JB Briscoe, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Right now at Audi Shawnee Mission, experience why the Season of Audi sales event is the best time to get yourself the vehicle of your dreams. Come experience our state-of-the-art facility and check out the best deals of the year, making this holiday season one to remember. Audi Shawnee Mission off I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway, or AudiShawneeMission.com. Call now and take one home today. Come check out what it means to drive the rings.
Hey Kansas City, Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. It's Window Nation's famous year-end sale, which combines 2 of their best offers of the year. Get 0% financing for 60 months on all window styles, and buy 2 windows, get 2 free, no limit. Need 10 windows? Only pay for 5 without paying a cent of interest for 5 whole years. That's up to $5,000 in additional savings on the interest alone. You know, we're all spending more time at home, and experts predict it's going to be a rough winter. Let Window Nation help you reinvest in your biggest investment, your home. New energy-efficient Window Nation windows give you year-round benefits, saving you from high energy costs in the winter and summer. And you can purchase from the safety of your own home with their virtual estimate solution. So call 866-90-NATION today and save thousands with their limited time offer of 0% financing for 5 years and get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy with no limit. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com to schedule your in-home or online virtual estimate today. Don't miss this offer. Call now and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
The Sports Radio 810 fan shop is up and running just in time for the holidays. Head over to 810whb.com/shop to find the perfect gift for the KC sports fan in your life. Whether you need something from mom, dad, grandma, or grandpa, the 810 fan shop has a large selection of styles, colors, sizes, and designs. From hoodies to crew necks, t-shirts, long sleeves, and more, there's truly something for everyone on your Christmas list. The Sports Radio 810 fan shop online at 810whb.com/shop.
Call Bob Hamilton, Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. Did you know your heating system can lose 5% efficiency every year? Call us today and get a $49 system check, and we'll give you a Google Home Hub absolutely free. What? That's a $139 value while they last. How's that for peace of mind? Better call Bob.
Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, and AC. Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
I am Bob Hamilton, the great and powerful Wizard of Clogs. Right now, get any line open for just $99. We'll even camera your line to make sure it won't happen again. If your yellow brick road has been backing up, give us a call for our $99 any drain special. Did I mention our 100% peace of mind guarantee? Better call Bob.
Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, and AC. Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Looking for that perfect holiday gift for your top customers and clients? Well, give the gift of Joe's Kansas City Barbecue.
Joe's Kansas City can ship their championship smoked barbecue kits anywhere in the United States. Ordering is quick and easy at joeskc.com. Stand out from the crowd and wow your top clients with their world-famous Z-Man kit or their burnt ends and brisket bundle. Fair warning, though, this is the gift your customers will expect every year. Log on to joeskc.com and get your holiday gift giving started today.
Don't let the cold weather keep you from getting your work done outside. At Vanderbilt's, they have all the gear you need to keep you comfortable in the great outdoors. Insulated jackets and bibs from Carhartt and Byrne, neoprene boots from Boggs and Dry Shot, great layering pieces like Brawny and Western flannel, fleece, and sweatshirts, as well as stocking caps, gloves, and insulated socks. Vanderbilt's, keeping you warm for the last 45 years, with locations in Lawrence, Topeka, and Wamego.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
I meant to warn you at the front end that this show is, we're going to talk about some NFL stuff and some Chiefs stuff, but you're going to have to, this show is going to be unapologetically this show today.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
All right, so a minute on the AFC. I have been largely unimpressed by the Steelers in many turns this year. Not as like a garbage team, but as a team that I got kind of annoyed in the conversations about them because they were undefeated for so long. It was about how they're actually the best team in football, when in reality, they're a good team that beat a lot of bad teams and also a couple of good teams. But, you know, even though I think the Browns have probably gotten a little bit too much bleep, which is a joke about last night's game. Yes, thank you very much. Even though I do think the Browns have probably gotten a little bit too much bleep over the course of their weird losses this year, beating the Browns doesn't mean you're ready to beat the Chiefs, right? The Bills played a good game against the Steelers on Sunday night, a game that I actually, I picked the Bills to win that game because I think at least their ceiling is higher. Their floor might be lower, and maybe there's a little more room for chaos in the Bills than in the Steelers. But now the Chiefs are the 1 seed on their own in the AFC, and they have a little bit of wiggle room. The Chiefs have 1 loss. The Steelers now, shout out WFT, Washington Football Team. The Chiefs now have 1 loss to the Steelers 2, but the Steelers lost to a common opponent who the Chiefs beat, being obviously the Bills. The Chiefs could actually lose to either the Saints or the Falcons these next 2 weeks. Don't anticipate that they will, but they could lose to either of these 2 teams in the next 2 weeks and still hold the number 1 seed in the AFC. Not the case with the Chargers. That's an interconference game, so I think that would throw everything back out of whack again. Ultimately, though, this is enormous. They're going to be the only team in the conference that gets not just, 1 less opportunity to lose, but that week to rest up, headed into the playoff run. As long as they hold on to that is a tremendous advantage that I think is a really, really big deal. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff around the Chiefs with Seth Kaiser next.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Look to the professional staff, Precision Dent Repair KC, for your auto body repairs. Winter storms are coming. They're equipped to repair all makes and models, and their work comes with a satisfaction guarantee. Precision Dent Repair is located in Overland Park on Frontage Road next to J. Wolf Acura off I-35 at 7805 Frontage Road. Just look for the big sign, Dent Repairs 913-905-9932, or look them up at PrecisionDentRepair.com. That's PrecisionDentRepair.com. 913-905-9932.
Robert Brogdon Buick GMC in Olathe is your destination location for quality new and used vehicles. You'll find the area's largest inventory of new Buicks and GMCs, including the all-new 2021 GMC Yukon, plus a huge selection of hard-to-find models with a hassle-free customer experience. At Brogdon, they know your time is valuable, making sure to give you the fastest car buying experience. And Brogdon is an official GMC Business Elite dealer, serving the entire KC metro area with professional-grade vehicles for your fleet or commercial needs. Visit robertbrogdon.com. See him in person at I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe.
Do you use your SUV for business and you'd like to upgrade? Now's the time at Aristocrat Motors. Act before December 31st and you could enjoy accelerated depreciation for 2020 on your new 6,000-pound SUV. Choose from our iconic brands Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Porsche, or Maserati. See your tax accountant about Section 179 and then see Aristocrat Motors. I-35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway or online at aristocratmotors.com. And you'll find taxes have never been so much fun.
Have some free time? PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 60 to participate in a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 9 nights and one follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $4,400 for time and travel. Call PRA today at 913-210-5900 or visit us on the web at prastudies.com/Lenexa.
Well, guys, you did it again. Even though Christmas is on the same date every year, you got busy, and now it's crunch time. And you got nothing for her. Well, that's not exactly true. You got me. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, where there are 3 things we do better than anyone else. We have better diamonds at better prices than even the online guys. We have the most skilled and technologically advanced custom jewelry shop within 200 miles. And no one, I mean no one, personally takes care of last-minute shoppers like I do. Hey, until I opened House of Diamonds, that last-minute guy was me. So I get it. Come in and see me. I'll show you a collection of one-of-a-kind pendants, earrings, bracelets, and rings that will blow her away. She'll think you started working on this back in July. Fellow procrastinators, I've got your back. Come see me at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Your hometown radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, presents a special college football championship weekend. Friday night, we'll bring you live coverage of the Pac-12 championship. Then Saturday, the action kicks off at 11 a.m. with Iowa State and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. At 3, tune in to hear Notre Dame and Clemson in the ACC championship on ESPN Kansas City. And at 7, it's Alabama and Florida in the SEC championship game on Sports Radio 810. It's all on Sports Radio 810 and ESPN Kansas City.
Sports Talk powered by fans. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. The power of sports.
I'm Steve Lennox. The top story of the day, Giannis Antetokounmpo signing the Super Max extension with the Milwaukee Bucks organization. 2-time MVP. Could have become an unrestricted free agent next summer. Instead, he signs a 5-year max extension worth $228 million. Top 5 teams unchanged in the next to last college football playoff rankings. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, Texas A&M, followed by Iowa State. Cyclones moving up to number 6. ESPN college football analyst Joey Galloway on the latest rankings.
As we have all these discussions about teams not playing versus teams playing 5 games, how many games you get in, it seems as if some teams are being punished for not playing football games and some teams are not. And so if I'm one of the little guys, if I'm Cincinnati and I'm always scratching and clawing to be considered one of the big boys, I look at this and what's going on and say, look, this is not fair. We're being punished for not playing, and it's not our fault.
Cincinnati in at number 9, 8-0, and dropping one spot in each of the last 2 playoff rankings despite not playing since November 21. Heather Dinich writing on ESPN.com, the college football playoff expects to keep one of the 2 college football playoff semifinals at the Rose Bowl. Michigan cancels its final game of the season against Iowa because of COVID-19 concerns within the program. It's a 3rd straight cancellation for the Wolverines, who end the season at 2-4. Indiana and Purdue also canceled for Saturday. Big 12 ACC title game Saturday on both ABC TV and ESPN radio affiliates.
Coming up Wednesday, Keyshawn actually played for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So why does one of their best players want to actually talk to me? Find out Tuesday at 8:10 a.m. Eastern on Keyshawn, J. Will and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
Now it's time for very serious football talk with the man who met his wife on a blind date, chaperoned by his parents.
They actually came along on the first date with us. There was a... No! I rode in the back seat. I was 22.
The man who needs to take a minute to remember the names of all of his children.
Do all of your kids have the same first letter?
No, actually. Let me think. Do any of them? Tucker, Mason, Cole, Isabel, and Lucas.
The man who can defend you in court, but will probably choose not to.
I'll cop to this on a public setting right now. I am an aggressive cuddler in a consensual sense.
Comma, officer.
Good grief, he's a pastor too? When does this guy sleep?
You will find Seth Kaiser everywhere except for in his or your bed, because not only does he not sleep, he's also a faithful husband. So that's important.
It's Seth Kaiser of The Athletic on Almost Entirely Sports.
For the last time in the year 2020, a banner year by so many metrics. Really, it's been great for just about everybody. We will speak now to Seth Kaiser of The Athletic, the chief of the North newsletter, the Time Czars podcast, at RealMN Chiefs fan on Twitter. Seth, I don't even know if you knew until just now. This is the last week of AES in 2020, and I think we have to go out in appropriate 2020 style. Let's just go ahead and do bad radio, light it all on fire, and promise to be better next time.
I think that's fair, and anytime you can do that and lower expectations for future performance, I find that is actually one of the keys to long-term success.
Yeah. I think in a way we've been doing that with this segment now, just amazingly for like 3 years or whatever it's been.
It is amazing. We've reached that point of radio magic to where I find myself sending emails to our Time Czars producer after the fact saying, don't mind Josh and I, we've just been doing way too much radio.
Yeah.
So if we start sniping at each other mid-podcast, that's on us.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, Danielle.
That's how many hours of radio we've done together is passive-aggressively sniping at one another on air. And not even care. It's like when you reach that point as a married couple where you'll just fight in public and you don't even care.
See, that's new. That's something I didn't know that eventually happened, but it's good to know that. And really, you are helping me get comfortable with that vibe.
Yeah, you reach a point in your marriage where, everyone knows you. You know these people. They know that you're not leaving one another. And so what's the point of pretending you're not really mad at each other?
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe we would if someone hadn't decided blah, blah, blah. And then, it just escalates from there.
Yeah, no, I think the main thing I've realized in the moments where we've had something, typically it's on Time Czars and not here though, and maybe we can blame Nate for that somehow. I don't know how he would, because he might be the least sort of aggravational person I know. I don't know if that's a word or not though, but
it sounds like a word.
It sounds like a word, right? Like I don't know how else. Yeah. I don't, because it's not aggravatable. I'm saying he's the one anyway. It seems like it usually happens on Time Czars, but the thing now that I know for sure is there have been more times where I have just thrown a smoke bomb out there and just not even had it pass through my mind that maybe I shouldn't. I've done that more often than I've gone, ooh, I shouldn't say this. I mean, there's a little bit in each column, but it's much more heavily weighted to the former.
Well, that's a little something that comes to you with time.
It really
and by
is,
that I mean it even either increases or decreases, one of the two.
That's true.
But no, and I actually have an answer for why it never happens on this show.
Why is it?
Well, would you like the answer?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please. I was going to let you I didn't want to throw off your timing.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. So I don't pick fights that I have no chance of winning. And I don't argue with radio hosts on their show because you have the good mic. Now, to be fair, anyone who's listening to Time Czars is aware that my mic is not always great.
Look at that little self-deprecating jab. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. You've got the good mic, though. You've got the mute power.
Yeah.
You've got the end the call power. Basically, right now, I am I stand trembling before the power of you. And I don't pick fights I can't win. So I choose instead to take passive-aggressive pot shots during Time Czars, where the playing field, it's still your show, but the playing field's at least a little more equal. Plus, then I can always get revenge on you by saying something, in a column that you probably won't ever read, but that everyone else will read and they'll know.
I read your mailbag. Where you said that we're not actually mortal enemies. I saw you lie to the public like that.
See, I was hoping you didn't read that because I think I said some nice stuff about it.
It wasn't that nice. Nate says nicer stuff about me all the time.
Well, that's because Nate's a better person than I am, Josh.
He's a better person than both of us. We can agree on that. That might be one of the places we come together flawlessly.
It really is. It's like, well, people ask me that sometimes, well, why isn't Nate ever involved in that? It's like, well, because Nate's a better person than I am.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's so hard to believe about this. Why are we asking stupid questions here?
Nate also
Nate would never say that to someone.
Right. No, and Nate also, he'll never hear this, so we're definitely safe. He occupies a very valuable, very rare space where he is both extremely smart and extremely agreeable. Where he has good opinions that you could try to pick a fight with if you had a worse opinion, but he still wouldn't he still wouldn't try to punish you for that bad opinion. And you and I think we both see blood in the water, and we're like, well, I'll go over there and see if there's anything else. I'll go see if there's a little snack over there.
See, Nate would cross the street to avoid a confrontation. You and I would cross the street to correct someone's grammar. like we was like, oh, I think that guy said something about Travis Kelce that probably isn't correct, and it really is important that I try to correct this person who will never change their mind. It really is. It's a character flaw, and that's probably one reason why we get along as well as we do, and probably one reason why in the areas we disagree, we bicker like we do. It's fun, though. 3 years of it. It's awesome.
We're self-aware enough that, like, I'm not saying it's at a point where we're self-aware enough that it's healthy, but we're self-aware enough that it's not totally toxic, right? I think there's some space in there.
We're aware that it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And they say that's the first step, acknowledging there's a problem.
Yeah, that's what I say every time I get, a double bacon cheeseburger at Five Guys. I go, I know this isn't healthy, and now because I know that it's not healthy, I can eat it guilt-free. It'll be fun.
Because you've taken that first step. Yeah. Let me just tell you, and I know we got to talk about football here, but a quick story about burgers.
Okay, great.
So I was driving through the drive-thru at Burger King, because I was filled with self-loathing.
Right.
And I ordered a Bacon King. Have you ever had a Bacon King?
I think so. I think I'm going to get to a point where I'm telling people that Burger King is underrated. So at least the actual burgers.
You know what? Burger King, actually, the Bacon King, underrated burger. It's just a lot of burger.
Can you describe it then? Because I'm not sure that I've had it. I'm a big barbecue burger guy.
It's 2 Whopper patties with like 8 slices of bacon. They don't scrimp on the bacon. They have tons of bacon on there.
Yeah.
Like, that's one problem with, like, Wendy's Baconator. Sometimes you just don't have enough bacon.
Yeah.
But they have, like, 8 full strips of bacon, 2 Whopper patties, which are huge. Just huge on this massive bun. And then you've just got, just some ketchup and a little mayo or whatever else you put on there.
Yeah.
And so, which I'm not a big fan of mayo on burgers unless there's bacon mixed with ketchup. So maybe I would be a fan of this whole mayo chip stuff they're trying to sell.
Yeah?
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway. So, it's a massive, massive burger. And so I'm on the phone with an attorney buddy of mine talking about something. And I had to stop to order. So I ordered the Bacon King and then a large fry. And then I also got an order of, like, mozzarella sticks as well.
Yes.
And then I hear him laughing on the phone. And I was like, okay, why don't you just take it easy, buddy? Why don't you just calm down? And I said that. And then the drive-thru attendant was like, excuse me, sir? I was like, no, not you. I got this jerk of a friend on the phone with me, and then he's making fun of my eating habits, even though he and I both know he'd be ordering the same thing I'm ordering. And, he laughed or whatever. And then the guy goes, well, would you like a pie? I'm like, what are you doing to me, man?
Yes,
I'm already, like, getting mocked here. So, of course, I ordered the pie.
You've got to get the pie at that point.
Yeah, those Hershey pies, they're ridiculously good.
Oh, the Hershey pies. Oh, Lord in heaven. Oh, have mercy.
They're so good. Oh. Have you ever gotten like a full one of those from Walmart and then just down 3/4 of that bad boy?
It's not exactly 1-to-1, but if my mom is hearing this, maybe I'm guessing she already has this plan. But there's the the Marie Callender French silk chocolate pie that you can get. It's kind of an ice cream pie. It's sort of frozen. It's very ice creamy.
Yep.
That is my birthday, quote unquote cake of choice for the most part. And it does not my birthday is 2 days before Christmas. If it's around on Christmas morning to have a slice, I'm lucky. And if it is there for Christmas morning breakfast, I'm eating it.
Oh, absolutely. And some of those things, I mean, they're just so bad for you, and you can eat so much of it so quickly.
Yeah.
And that's the real problem. You got to find things that take longer to eat, so your stomach can scream warning signals to your brain.
Yeah, stop it.
You're killing me. What are you doing? But no, it's all worth it. But here's the thing about the Bacon King.
Yeah.
One night, late at night, I pull in through Burger King and I order the Bacon King, and they say, "Oh, well, we're actually out of the patties, but you know what? It's going to be fine. We're just going to use 6 patties." And I said, wait. Did you just say you're going to use 6 burger patties? And he goes, yeah, it's the same amount. I said, what? And that's how I found out. So now I can't even order the thing without feeling like a disgusting behemoth because it's 6 regular burgers in one burger. And that's my Burger King story. And I mean, of course, I still ordered it, and I ate the thing like it was my last meal. Ugh.
I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can hear my voice, coming through my hands, cupped over my mouth, but that was the pose that I took when you said 6 patties. That totally, and this would probably be the case, if there's like some dietitian listening right now, they're like, yeah, we could do that for literally anything. I'm sure you could, where you're like, oh yeah, I'd like, I'm going to Slim Chickens. Can I get the chicken strips that I love so much? And like, sure. Do you want that with 9 tablespoons of oil or 8? And it's like, what? I'm sure that we can do that anywhere. But the idea of going in and ordering, like you described the Bacon King, and I was like, you know what? I might make a little time out of that someday because that sounds incredible. If I went into a Burger King drive-thru and said, hi, could I get just a normal burger but with 6 patties? I would expect to get arrested for being some sort of burger pervert. A pervert? A pervert? Is that anything? I'm not sure if that's anything.
A pervert. I like it.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's jarring.
It was genuinely jarring for me. And then the fact that I was downing a large order of fries and, mozzarella sticks with it. And it's just one of those, like, every now and then, I'm pretty comfortable in my own skin. I could lose a little weight. I know that. Probably even a lot of weight. I could lose 30 pounds and be a lot more healthy. Every now and then I have those moments. I'm pretty happy with myself.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, oh, I'm disgusting. And that was one of those moments where I was so filled with self-loathing that it was pretty bad. I think I might have ordered a shake, too, just because I was so upset.
You've got to make yourself feel better. So you go back around another loop through the drive-thru. You eat the whole thing in the parking lot, and then you go back to the drive-thru again and say, "Hey, can I get a shake? I'm feeling really sad about all the food I just ate."
Yeah. Can I get something that has the caloric intake of 3 days worth of meals, please? Like, sure, we do have that actually. It's great.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that was a journey. All right, well, I was gonna ask you a question about like Christmas or something, but we'll if we've got time for that, great. Otherwise, we can talk about some Chiefs stuff. That's a remarkable. Those are really 2 good Burger King based stories, which is good because contractually we were obligated to have at least over 1.5 Burger King stories on the radio in 2020, and I hadn't gotten to any yet. So that
was close.
You really saved my job. You can read, Seth's Burger and Chiefs analysis in the Chief of the North newsletter. You can go to mnchiefsfan.substack.com or bit.ly/SethHatesMoney. It's $12 for a full year. If you get it for $12 for a full year, it's that price for a year forever. So go get that, lock that price in, and never pay Seth his value is what I would argue you should do. And, you've had so many people that have tweeted like, yeah, that was like maybe legitimately the best $12 I've spent because it's a year of making me a smarter, better Chiefs fan.
That's been so gratifying. Yeah. I love it.
And it's, I completely understand how people's perspectives could change from a year of just reading your work a couple times a week because it really opens you up to a bunch of different perspectives and literally sometimes because you're looking at all 22, which most people have never done on an NFL level because most people don't have Game Pass or whatever. So it's worth your $12 for your $1 a month. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can go check that out. But the first thing that you wrote about after the Dolphins game was that, hey, the Chiefs just played a game where if you looked at the box score minus the final score and you didn't know it was the Chiefs, you'd say, well, this team probably blew it because they turned the ball over 4 times. They lost the turnover battle by -3. Teams just don't win games where they do that very often. And the Chiefs did. And about by halftime, really, it didn't feel like that game was legitimately in danger, if ever at all.
Right. So the Chiefs' first 3 possessions, if I'm recalling correctly, were interception, punt, interception. If I'm remembering correctly, the exact order. Mm-hmm. And the Dolphins end up 10-0, right?
Yeah.
The fact, what I want people to think about, and your feelings can betray you when it comes to football games. I understand people were frustrated with the offense and maybe the defense a little. And it's a frustrating thing, but when you reach past that frustration, if you ask most Chiefs fans how they felt down 10-0, it's basically a shrug.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's a bummer, but, still the second quarter. And that's where the territory the Chiefs reach. When you lose the turnover battle, especially on the road, by 3, I believe Arrowhead Pride did the math on this. I can't remember. I think they were the site that did. It's under 1% of teams that win games like that.
Mm-hmm.
The turnover battles, and we talked about this a little on Times Ours, turnovers are so important because it automatically means 0 points for one team on one of their drives. And remember, you only get about 11 of those a game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking, a little less than 10% of their possessions. One of them just automatically gets wiped off the board.
And
0.
If I can jump in to both confirm that you were right, it was pick, punt, pick. On the punt though, that was the 30-yard sack drive, and so do you know how far Tommy Townsend's punt went from the original place they started with the ball?
I don't.
9 yards.
9 yards. It was the equivalent of a turnover.
It was the equivalent of throwing an interception 9 yards downfield.
9 yards. Correct. And so, I mean, and you can play games like that, but I believe that was a record in one play.
Yeah.
Like for a sack yard, because Mahomes doesn't do anything halfway.
Right, that's
He's just
true.
like, by God, I am throwing this 60 yards down the field, or I'm setting some other record.
Yep.
Next time I expect him to just turn around and hawk it out of his own end zone,
Yeah.
just to say, no one has done this before.
Yes.
So you essentially have 2 turnovers and one play that's as close to a turnover as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And they go down 10-0, which, by the way, a lot of people want to talk about the defense because of the end of the game and stuff. 2 things. One, the defense kept them in that game, although I think they would have been in that game even if Miami had scored 3 straight touchdowns, but that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
They made a lot of important stops. And then when the Chiefs went on that run in the second and third quarter, the defense kept giving them the ball back. And that matters. And so it's just worth noting that they're that good. And they just break all the rules. You're not supposed to win games. You turn the ball over 3 times. And they really didn't sweat it that much. I was reading a great article, and the way that it phrased it, I think it was on The Ringer, where it talked about, the Chiefs survived Mahomes throwing an uncharacteristic 3 interceptions. And they put in parentheses, actually it didn't even really seem to faze them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it felt. Was, man, because even when he threw that 3rd interception, by then, the game felt over to me.
Yeah. That going over Xavier Howard and 2, I believe, Tyreek Hill would have ended the game. It just sort of prolonged it felt like.
Exactly, and their win probability was still high.
Yeah, extremely, yes.
Right, and that's what happens. I mean, they are a team that goes on these unbelievable runs, and the defense seems to get hot at the right moments a lot of the time, too. And that's basically, if you are an opponent and the Chiefs go on a run like that, you better hope that you can score 2 or 3 straight touchdowns.
Yep.
Because if you can, then you can hang with them. If you can't, you are suddenly trailing.
Yep.
And that sort of run ability is what we saw in, the divisional round of the playoffs, where they just overwhelmed Houston and ended the game. That game was over by halftime. And I would say we watched multiple Chiefs games this year that even though on the final scoreboard, like the Bucs game or this last Miami game, even though the final scoreboard was a little closer, the Broncos game was maybe a little closer than you'd like, by halftime or midway through the 3rd quarter, the game really felt over.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of time. And at this point, I'm not sure I'm capable of really sweating the actual result of a Chiefs game until the 4th quarter. Like, if they're still losing the 4th, then I start to wow, that's weird, but that hardly ever happens. They're just a completely different team from everyone else.
I'm trying to think, and I think that I should be better than this. I admit it. Again, we're acknowledging our flaws without actually addressing them.
Yeah.
I think
I ate 6 burger patties, Josh. You can admit anything to me.
That's such a good point. We all have that forever. There are the times whenever it feels like things are like the beginning of the Dolphins game. I think after the second pick, which the sack pick, I think I tweeted that I was at like a 7 or 7.5 out of 10 on the worry scale. And if that was 2 or 3 years ago, or if it was 3 or 4 years ago, that would have been a 9.9 out of 10. But still, you see things just fall apart, and you're just like, well, there are 3 dominoes. You would think that there will continue being dominoes, and then there aren't, because eventually they just turn on the rocket jets, and that's to be expected at this point. I'm trying to think.
Yep.
I think the only way that I could be nervous, at halftime or whatever, is if the defense looks bad. If it's just two offenses
like the
kind
Raiders
of playing.
game.
Yeah, if it's two offenses trading punches, because the Chiefs can't outscore another offense that's also scoring. But even then, like you said, the Chiefs defense has had some good moments in that regard. The Chiefs offense doesn't need a lot from them.
Right. And they just need the pass rush to show what it showed against Miami, right?
Yeah.
Now, Miami's got a young offensive line. And there's a lot, actually. I've been looking at the pass rush. That's probably what I'm right about next for the Athletic. Honestly, I think the pass rush, the blitzes are good and bad. In that I saw a couple snaps where, like, a blitzer just ran right into Chris Jones's way after he chucked the guard aside. It's like, dang, Spags, like, let that man cook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's really all they need is a few stops during those runs. And it's not even throughout the whole game. If you just get 2 or 3 straight stops and you're the Chiefs defense, if that comes at the right time, you can end the game. Because for most teams, mind you, against an average defense, because the Chiefs have about an average defense. People want to talk like, well, they're terrible. No, they're really not. They're about average, with some specific strengths, some specific weaknesses. A 14 to 17-point lead with an average defense with only a half to go is really, really, really tough to come back from.
Yep, that's true.
And the Chiefs are able to do that. On the flip side of things, if the Chiefs are trailing by 17 at halftime, sure, I'd be worried. But I'd also be like, I mean, they're just a couple drives away. And that's the thing. So, so you had the pick, 30-yard loss, punt, pick. And then the Chiefs, get the ball back down 10-0, and then what? 2 minutes and 5 plays later, they'd scored. It just happened so fast.
Yeah.
And I don't think other teams are really built to handle that psychologically. And the longer the Chiefs do it, I think the harder it becomes to deal with that. And these are pros, well-coached teams are going to handle it well, which the Dolphins did. But there's got to be an impact there of, oh, boy, here we go. Like, it's happening.
Yeah.
A little bit of tenseness, a little bit of that. And the Chiefs just seem to be able to build on that, and it's just so impressive.
One other thing that we didn't ever talk about on Time Czars, but I saw you tweet about right after the game that I wanted to talk to you about here today is the play calling. I don't know. We've got kind of the and Nate brought this up on the podcast, the idea of Andy Reid bringing out the good plays whenever they're down by 10 instead of you don't want to give everything away at the beginning or whatever. And we've gone through the story of Andy Reid not liking the being asked about that and whatnot many times now. But if we can go to the kind of early game stuff if you want. But I specifically want to talk about, because I think I know where your head's at on this, about what happened late in the game here against the Dolphins. Because there have been times where we've both agreed that there's been a little bit of a foot off the gas. There have been times that we've disagreed, and in this one, I think we're going to come together because I actually found the ending of this game, really kind of the fourth quarter of this game, really interesting. Because the Chiefs were up. I'm going to do some sort of note reading here, just so everyone's prepared to listen especially closely. Hardman houses the punt, 28-10. Chiefs get the ball back, and they do start with 2 straight runs, but the one on first down worked, and the one on second one didn't, and whatever. Sometimes it's random. 3rd and 3, they go to Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce converts everything. So they go to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then on second down, but they're moving the ball. And they threw it on 3rd and 3 when they could have just ran it there and not gotten it. Second down, screen to Mecole Hardman, goes for 29 yards. He loses the fumble. Dolphins get the ball. The Chiefs get the sack after that, but they were about to score more or less. Mecole Hardman loses it. On the next drive, they get to 3rd and 6, and on 3rd and 6, Patrick Mahomes goes for a deep shot to Tyreek Hill, just misses it, and they end up punting. They get the ball back again, and there's the pick in the end zone where they are throwing it into the end zone at Xavier Howard on first down after driving down the field, throwing it for 3rd and 8, all that. Again, Mahomes takes a sack on 3rd and 6. It was 3rd and 1 until Nick Keizer jumped. They should have been able to convert there. And then they end up having the last drive, which did have some issues on the other side of the Tyreek Hill stepping out of bounds. 4th and inches, though, they go for it, which they should have done there. That was great. I'm glad they did. But they go for it on 4th and inches, shotgun. Mahomes goes right, Hill's open, goes to Tyreek Hill, first down, gets a bunch of yardage. an aggressive play call on 4th and inches. If he doesn't step out of bounds, the next part doesn't really matter. He did step out of bounds, and then Clyde lost 3. Clyde lost 8. A penalty stopped the clock, which is not helpful at all. And then
that was really bad.
Awful.
Hill should have gotten the first down and then just dropped. I mean,
100%.
even Mitch Schwartz said that on Twitter.
Yep. So that last drive ended up with Hill stepping out of bounds and the penalty, and then a couple of runs there that didn't do anything good. That was, you don't like that part of it. Anyway, me monologuing for a minute while you just sit there and listen and hopefully nod, I think goes to illustrate they were still aggressive offensively down the stretch in this game in a way that they're not always. Do you think that is all fair?
I think that's absolutely all fair. What I like, let's start with the part that maybe wasn't necessarily as aggressive, right? They really sorry, I got distracted by something and I can't even hide it right now.
Ooh,
so,
but you're not going to tell me what it is, though, are you?
Radio magic from home.
Yeah.
So the very last couple plays of the drive were not aggressive at all.
Yep.
Right after the penalty, which, as you kind of alluded to, those plays never really should have really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Hill shouldn't go out of bounds there, because if he doesn't go out of bounds, you're talking 40 seconds off the clock there.
Yep.
It changes things entirely, right?
Yep.
And that's one thing that I think teams. I really do think a lot of people say this. I think a lot of coaches would really do well talking to Madden players.
Yeah.
About clock management, because at the end of games, once you are under 2 minutes, and I would say arguably, depending on the score, once you're under 3 minutes, the clock is everything. And that's the only time of the game that, honestly, depending on the score, again, right? If you're up 30, fine, run the ball 3 times or, do really short passes and just try to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't risk someone pulling a hammy on a deep throw or something weird.
Right.
But if you're up by 2 scores or a score and it's that late and you've already gotten your first down, the clock is everything. For a while, it's moving the sticks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you should focus on. And you and I have talked about this a ton, that, people say, oh, you got to run the ball because you got to run the clock out. Well, moving the sticks runs the clock out.
Yep.
But then you've got to be aware of the situation. When is that last first down where it becomes more important to drain the clock than move the sticks? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there eventually comes a turning point around the 2 or 3 minute mark where it actually becomes more important to drain the clock. And it depends on whether the other team has timeouts, which Miami had eventually spent theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, when Tyreek Hill was going for extra yardage and, he did all that, has he stayed in bounds, then those next couple plays, they just completely run out the clock, don't get a penalty, and it all ends. Before that point, they were still throwing the ball down the field. Multiple times each drive. Now, I don't think they were showing some of Reed's more exotic stuff, because why do that?
Right,
when you're winning. But they were definitely still throwing the ball down the field. And like you said, we've agreed sometimes, we've disagreed some other times as to whether they were trying to put the boot to the throat there. But this is a situation where they were being aggressive. And it was good to see, because it's been back and forth with Andy this year. And it seems like he kind of bases it on how dangerous he thinks the opposing quarterback is, maybe, like with Tampa Bay. But, man, I would sure just love to see him just do it more constantly, like what he did in the fourth quarter there. I actually agree with the decisions to run the ball on that very last drive, like the very last series after Hill's first down.
Yeah.
I agree with running the ball there because those 40 seconds are more valuable than converting.
Mm-hmm. And
you want to guarantee 40 seconds. Honestly, I wouldn't have cared if they'd kneeled.
They would have moved back less, actually.
Yeah, they would have moved back less. And that's actually something that I've often thought about. A kneel carries no risk.
Also, they wouldn't have gotten that penalty, by the way, to add on to that, which also stopped the clock. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Galaxy brain. I love it.
I think you make an incredible point there. A kneel carries no possibility of a penalty other than a false start, which will stop the clock, but only at that certain point, and then you just repeat the down.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, a run play, you risk a holding penalty. You risk all sorts of stuff. And so it makes more sense to kneel the ball there rather than just, if you're not trying to gain yards, which they weren't, right?
Right.
At that point, and so I've always said, if you're not trying to gain yards, just kneel.
Yeah.
Don't risk, because can you imagine, and I understand, running back's not the most important position in the world. We all know that. But I want Clyde Edwards-Helaire healthy for the playoffs.
Sure.
I want, imagine if he tears his ACL there and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
I mean, these things happen. So I would have liked to see them actually be less aggressive in that moment, because running the ball, they know you're running. You know you're running.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get anywhere 99 times out of 100. And so that's kind of where I land on that, and that trying to run the clock out in that manner, in that scenario. Yeah. But before that, they were aggressive. They pushed the ball down the field, and I like to see that from Andy. I hope to see that more moving forward. I actually do have a thought, if we're talking about clock control, on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
So there was a lot of talk during the broadcast about these cover zero blitzes that Spagnuolo was running so many. And there were a lot of people that were pretty upset in the fourth quarter that the Dolphins were able to march down the field and score to pull within 6, I think it was, or I don't even remember how many points it was at this point. So something interesting to note is that it took the Dolphins, they got the ball back, and it took them a full 6.5 minutes to score, because the way that they moved the ball down the field was a series of 6 to 8 yard throws, right? Middle of the field, 6 to 8 yards, 6 to 8 yards, 6 to 8 yards. I have a bit of a theory here. Now, I think part of it, Spagnuolo loves to blitz young quarterbacks. One thing I've also seen Spagnuolo do a lot of with the game on the line, when you've got another team and the Chiefs are leading by 2 scores, they blitz the crap out of teams and they play a little bit off and just invite the quarterback to throw shallow to the middle of the field over and over and over again. And it's not the same as just them running the ball for 4 yards a pop, but I would argue that it's similar given the timing and given the context of the play. You really, 6 yards aren't worth 40 seconds in that scenario.
Yeah.
And I think there's some intentionality there in showing that same look over and over, because they gave him the same open look in the middle of the field. Now, they shifted the defense up a few times. It's not like they were running just cover zero blitzes, but they were leaving that middle of the field more open. And I kind of like that strategy if you're leading by 2 scores and you're getting to late in the fourth quarter. If they want to march the ball down the field in the middle of the field 6 to 8 yards at a time, let them.
Yeah.
And then by the time they scored, there were, I think, 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left. And then you put your offense in a position to where just need a first down.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs' offense is almost always going to come through there.
Seth, don't go anywhere. Let's take a break. We'll come back with more of Seth Kaiser of the Chief of the North newsletter, The Athletic, and the Times Ours podcast next here on Almost Entirely Sports.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Ho, ho, ho! It's Stephen Santa John back for our friends at Central States Beverage Company to bring you the 12 Days of Taste. Ho, 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 ho. Listen to the Border Patrol for your chance to win great prizes. It's the 12 Days of Taste on the Border Patrol. Brought to you by Central States Beverage Company and Sports Radio 810 WHB. Oh, ho, 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 ho!
If ever there was a time to give that special someone in your life the gift of spa, it's now. A spa experience will deliver stress relief and pure relaxation. Par Excellence gift cards can be purchased through the Par Excellence website or the Par Excellence app. We appreciate your support of small local businesses, and we will get through this together.
As we navigate the present, let's not forget our past. Together, we've seen growth and endured difficulties. But through the challenges, what matters most hasn't changed. Compassion, positivity, responsibility. The timeless values that united us in the past will guide us to resilience and well-being in the present. Find information and support at intrustbank.com.
Let's face it, we're all ready for 2020 to be over, and at Reed Buick GMC, we want you to end 2020 on a high note. With employee pricing for everyone on GMC Sierras, Terrains, Acadias, and Canyons. As always, you can reserve your new GMC wrapped in plastic with your name on it straight from the factory. And as an added bonus for 810 listeners, mention 810 and receive your first 3 years maintenance free. Call 816-436-6300 or go to reedbuickgmc.com today.
Looking for the right tool for the job? Milwaukee Toolbox by Plum Supply at 14930 West 101st Terrace in Lenexa, conveniently located off I-435 and Lackman Road, has just what you need. They are a full-line Milwaukee tool store. Products include power tools, outdoor power equipment, site lighting, instruments, hand tools, equipment safety solutions, and more. Open from 7:30 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Whether you need a new tool, battery, or even a gift card, they have you covered. Come visit them and let their friendly and knowledgeable sales staff help you with your next project. Check out their specials at toolboxkc.com.
Visit Shane Company for easy last-minute gifts, wrapped with a burgundy bow and ready to give. We have fine jewelry in every price range, made to last a lifetime. Our diamond necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and rings have extraordinary sparkle and brilliance and make a great holiday gift. Our vibrant rubies and sapphires will add color and sophistication to any jewelry collection, and our hoop earrings are also a big hit. Come in and browse our large selection. Let our friendly and non-commissioned jewelry consultants help you find the perfect gift, or shop online now to get it in time for Christmas. There's a wonderful joy in giving and receiving a gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com. Open weekdays 9 till 9, Saturday 10 till 8, and Sunday 11 to 5.
5 national championships.
Holy smokes, what a dog.
62 conference titles.
Another steal. This guy's a wizard.
15 Final Four appearances.
From way downtown. Bang.
There's only one team that can boast those numbers.
You can lock. Chalk it up.
Be a part of the Jayhawk journey all season long right here on your home for Kansas Jayhawk basketball.
Thursday, the Jayhawks open Big 12 play against Texas Tech. Tip off at 6 on Sports Radio 810.
Save on your next project today at Menards, your home improvement store. Menards carries a great selection of Master Force power tool accessories. We have what you need to take on whatever you're up against. We carry Master Force sandpaper, drill bits, hole saws, cutting wheels, and more. Save on everything for your next project right now at Menards. Good through December 20th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
Good chicken is worth the money. I'm glad we could talk about this.
This is really, and it's all kind of analogous to good chicken is worth the money. So is good Chiefs writing.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Second segment of Seth Kaiser from the Chief in the North newsletter, theathletic.com, the Times Ours podcast, here to close out 2020. Seth, I want to ask you another defensive-based question, and I know you don't know the answer to this, and I'm going to ask it in an unfair way, so good luck anyway. Why aren't we seeing more Willie Gay Jr. on the field for the Chiefs defense?
I don't know.
Okay.
my assumption, and I'm going to address his stuff on the newsletter here probably Friday, maybe even Saturday. It just depends on how my week goes. I'm going to look at his snaps and see what I can find that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, and here's one interesting thing. It's an interesting point that a young rookie who was considered a raw prospect might be being put in a situation where he's playing so well, in part because of limited responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And the ironic part is that gets the coaching staff yelled at because, well, look how great he's playing.
Right.
And the coaching staff knows that's because we are not making him think.
Mm-hmm.
We are saying these are the limited things that you need to do. That said, I'm frustrated by that. I like Ben Niemann, I think, more than the average fan does. He's kind of become the new Dan Sorensen in that he gets blamed for everything.
Yeah.
And people remember a couple bad plays and then think that he just, is a disaster every time he's on the field. That's not really true. But he is a limited player. And it's frustrating when you see Ben Niemann being blitzed like 10 times and think to yourself, I feel like Willie Gay could blitz.
Yeah.
And I feel like he could blitz faster and arrive hitting harder. Yeah. And when you see him close, like how he closed on, Miami's wide receiver on that failed pass attempt to Tua, you see him shrink the field in a way that Niemann can't. So I don't have a good answer. The assumption is still what it always was, that the coaches don't trust him with all the assignments and doing everything that his linebackers need to do. My pushback to that would be, as long as Anthony Hitchens is on the field, do you really need Willie Gay Jr. doing that stuff? And can't Hitchens, if his value, as the coaching staff alludes to, and which I believe, is in how smart he is and how he gets everyone else in position, can't he get Willie Gay Jr. in position?
Yeah.
And then isn't one of the reasons to have a guy like that who's maybe a little more limited physically, but is such a smart player? And look, Hitchens is having a good year quietly.
Yeah, for sure.
He's still not playing at the level of that contract, but he's closer to it. And, hey, they need solid inside linebacker play. But the idea of him is that you can help coach on the field a young, incredibly talented player. And it's really obvious, really fast, every time Willie Gay Jr. gets on the field, that his physical talent is off the charts. And so I don't have a good answer for you. I assume it's the trust thing, but even that doesn't really sit right to me if he can be playing next to a veteran like Hitchens.
The Hitchens point, I think, is a really good one. I mean, because the thing, you're also right about Ben Niemann, where he becomes a bit of a scapegoat. The thing that I think is hard for people to swallow is that you see Ben Niemann blitz, and you're like, well, that could be Willie Gay, so why on God's green earth would that not be Willie Gay? The thing that I'm not even, I would rather see Willie Gay make mistakes than be on the sideline, generally speaking. There's eventually a point where that's not true, but I think that there's at least a thought of like, well, yeah, sure, if we put Willie Gay out there to only ever blitz, that would be great, and he would be better at that than Ben Niemann, but also the defense would pick up on that, and whenever Ben Niemann's out there, he's dropping into coverage, and they'd pick up on that. So I'm guessing that there's, you mentioned the trust aspect. I'm guessing that there's an element of, really wanting to put him in situations where all of the options for him are his strengths, which, again, I think you put well to say that gets the coaching staff yelled at because of how good he looks there. But it also seems like something, I mean, we said this around the draft, so this isn't new. It seems like something that could benefit this defense in such a meaningful way to just have a torpedo in the middle of the defense. I just feel like it would solve a lot of issues if he's anywhere near being ready for that. But at this point, I don't know if I really expect that to change, between the rest of the year and into the playoffs.
Right, and I'm not sure I expect it to change much at this point, too. It is, and I said this on Times Ours, it's like the Dorian O'Daniel saga, only more frustrating because he's not showing the same weak spots Dorian O'Daniel showed.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what happens if Drew Brees is back. Because Taysom Hill hasn't used Alvin Kamara very well. But, I mean, honestly, if I'm the Saints, I have no idea why they wouldn't game plan a 20 throws to Alvin Kamara game.
Yeah.
And force the defense to show its traditional looks. Now, one thing the Chiefs have done in the past to counteract teams that they know going in want to use that game plan is they have used Dorian O'Daniel more. And they've just said, you are covering this running back. And that actually, even with Kamara, who is a better athlete than O'Daniel, but not by nearly as much as he is against most linebackers, that it's a viable strategy. But I don't know if they're going to do that this year. I haven't seen much of it. And so maybe you put Willie Gay Jr. in that same position, which, for the record, he's not an Alvin Kamara stopper.
Right.
Because he's bigger than Dorian O'Daniel, but he's not quite the athlete O'Daniel is. O'Daniel's more like he'd be an athletic safety. He flies all over the field. He just can't execute run fits very well and seems to get lost in zone coverage, and he's undersized.
And those are things that were obvious about him when he was on the field. With Gay, it's not. So it's frustrating, and I don't see it changing anytime soon, except we'll just see. The Chiefs have known all year they were going to make the playoffs, barring a catastrophe. And so I'm curious what Andy Reid's plan has been. Last year in the playoffs, we saw some looks, both offensively and defensively, that we didn't see all year. I can't help but wonder if the whole plan all offseason and all year is to run it back, if they're not keeping even more chambered, and that includes usage. It's kind of like, it's like silly questions, and I know you and I have, hollered at each other about, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But one thing we both agree on is, throw him the ball more if you're going to have him.
Yeah, right.
You're going to take the guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And, throw him the ball on tougher routes that actually give you an advantage, and they don't do it that much. So it's a similar thing to where the hope is they're keeping a few bullets in the chamber for the playoffs. And we'll see. I'm hoping Willie Gay Jr. is one of them because, like you said, he flies all over the field.
I'm now digging in on something that you just sort of mentioned kind of offhandedly. But last year, the running backs out of the backfield were such an enormous problem for the Chiefs' defense. And can you tell me how many times that we've even really had that conversation this year? I don't know if this is offenses not going back to it or if it's the defense playing it better. But I just pulled up off the top of my head games where I thought that may have been the case. They may have gone to it a little bit. Austin Eckler had 4 for 55 back in week 2. Christian McCaffrey had 10 catches for 82 yards with the Panthers. And those are literally the two quintessential pass-catching running backs in the league. They faced both of them.
Yes.
Neither time were they totally disorienting. And you didn't have the game where, he wasn't active, but Myles Gaskin does that to you or whatever, which felt like it happened a couple times last year. So that's kind of interesting.
Absolutely, and that's definitely worth noting. And they've adapted. I do remember. I want to say it was against Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Watching, but this is just anecdotal.
Sure.
It's just one play. Watching Damian Wilson try to chase down Ronald Jones, and it was bad.
Yeah.
I think it was Jones, but it was just one. It was one of those plays where everyone threw up their hands and said, "Where's Willie Gay?" Because I like Damian Wilson, especially at the price he comes at. He's a decent player. He just doesn't belong covering running backs in space.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. You make a good point on that. That is one area that Spagnuolo seems to have, by and large, help address. And they're going to get the ultimate test Sunday because Kamara is unique.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe McCaffrey's really, really good too. So it's just a matter of seeing, how they adjust to that. We'll see. And it'll depend in part, I'm assuming, on whether Damian Wilson is healthy.
And if Drew Brees isn't healthy, we're going to get to see how the Chiefs' defense does against two running back sets with Kamara and Taysom Hill.
I have a prediction. If Taysom Hill is starting, I think he is going to get the first career start Drew Lock treatment. I think Spagnuolo is going to blitz him like a psychopath. And it's going to be – and so, but I mean, Hill's – well, I would say he's got a live arm, but I saw that Fail Mary where he couldn't throw the ball farther than 40 yards. So I just – it'll be interesting to see how they try to respond to that because Sean Payton is no dummy. And Spagnuolo loves to blitz guys that he doesn't think can handle it. So that could be fun. I would rather see them play them with Breeze at full strength, get themselves gearing up towards the playoffs.
Yeah. Seth, I appreciate it as always. I was going to say, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and New Year, and I will talk to you probably 4 or 5 more times before that. But for the sake of from almost entirely sports and all of the AES faithful, thank you for yet another year of being on this show far too many times, and for generally speaking, making us smarter for it, and for also teaching us a valuable lesson about that horrifying 6-patty burger from Burger King.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I will say this, and in all sincerity, thank you for having me.
Seth Kaiser of The Athletic, the Chief of the North newsletter, at RealMNChiefsFan on Twitter. Follow him there. You can get all the links, mnchiefsfan.substack.com.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
A great local Kansas City company worked with us here at Union Broadcasting to install new carpet. A&M Flooring. The job they did was fantastic. They were able to install our new carpet in just 3 days. They were very professional and their service was outstanding. We couldn't be happier with A&M Flooring. A&M Flooring has been building relationships and working with flooring manufacturers for 30 years, and it shows. Stop in today and say you heard them on 810 to get a 10% discount. A&M Flooring, off 135th and Flum, next to Sherwin-Williams.
Winter is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine Exterminators is a family-owned, local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. So call today at 913-359-8627.
Hey everybody, Corey Anderson. Come see me this Wednesday during the Zone at Rally House in Independence. The first 100 people that come during the Zone each get a $10 gift card just for wearing a jersey of any type. We'll be voting on the most unique jersey. That person will win a $200 Rally House gift card. Last week's winner was a Buck O'Neil autographed jersey. Come in and start your holiday shopping with a bonus $10 Rally House gift card Wednesday with the Zone at Rally House in Independence.
'Tis the season for Five Farms Irish Cream. Celebrate the holidays with a taste of the world's best Irish cream sourced from County Cork, Ireland. Perfectly paired with coffee, hot chocolate, or simply on its own, Five Farms is sure to add warmth to your favorite cup. Go ahead and add 2 bottles to your holiday shopping list. 1 to sip on and 1 to make the perfect gift. Visit FiveFarmsIrishCream.com. Cheers and happy holidays from your friends at Five Farms Irish Cream.
This holiday season, your Kansas City Acura dealers are supporting Patrick Mahomes charity 15 and the Mahomies. Test drive any Acura before December 31st and they'll make a donation for every test drive, and you'll be entered for a chance to win a Patrick Mahomes signed jersey. They're offering the best deals of the year on every Acura in stock, including the 2020 MDX with 0.9% APR financing for qualified buyers. It's the Season of Performance event at your Kansas City Acura dealer. APR ends January 4th. PMC edition excluded. See dealer for details.
Hey folks, this is Nate Bucati from my friend Gary Joslin and Joslin's Jewelry. Look, in this day and age, most jewelry stores won't give you the service or knowledge that you need. If you want to work with real Kansas Cityans and get a great diamond at a great price, trust me, go to Joslin's. They're all about making friends and having long-term relationships. That's why they do such a great business with their in-house repairs. If you take your ring into one of those big box jewelry stores because it needs a repair, be prepared to pay all kinds of markups and fees that you don't need. That's not what they do at Joslin's. At Joslin's, you get an honest quote, a fair price, and the repairs that you need. And they've got a great selection of diamonds. So give them a call today at 913-341-2021, or you can look them up online at joslinsjewelry.com. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry, for the best that's yet to come.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
Pop it, twist it, pull it, shout it, flick it, spin it, shake it, shout it, pull it, spin it, pop it.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
So I'm going to go back to something that happened earlier in this hour because Rudy was also horrified, and I really wanted to unpack this a little bit now after Seth is gone. How many normal-sized burger patties do you think you could rationalize having in one sort of mega burger? Here's the thing. With Seth's story there of the double bacon artery clogger or whatever from Burger King, which, by the way, you know what Burger King has? They have croissants for their breakfast sandwiches. That's a game changer.
I love croissants.
Oh my God, I love croissants so much. But if you're like, all right, well, this is all raw meat and it was kind of, portioned out into burgers, I think you could say, hey, this is, 4 McDonald's patties is 2 Five Guys patties.
Yeah, and it depends on where it's from. Yeah, absolutely.
I think once I've realized I've eaten 6 of pretty much anything, like I've been working through a pack of Kit Kats during the breaks, and I've got 1 left of this pack of 4, and I'm going to eat this 4th one maybe right now. If I was on my 6th one, I'd be like, you know what? I need to kind of take some inventory and think about some things. It's amazing that in tonight's show, we haven't even gotten to Matt Verderam yet, and we have a major food topic. We'll talk to Matt Verderam of Fanside of the Stack in the Box podcast, the Arrowhead Addict podcast, next on Almost Entirely Sports.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Easton Roofing, where estimates are always free and suggestions are built on integrity. Let Easton Roofing educate you about every possible roofing solution for your home or your business. It's not about Easton Roofing. It's about your specific roofing need. Easton Roofing is an Angie's List Super Service Award winner. So call Easton Roofing right now at 913-257-5426 or visit them online at eastonroofing.com. Get back to business faster with Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech for your business. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. And don't forget to shop servers, storage, and thousands of top-brand electronics, all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here, and I'm back. I know you missed me talking about Kansas City's awesome quarterback. Can you believe the record-setting season that he's having? Kind of reminds me of the records that Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC are breaking with their pricing. All month long, they're offering employee discounts, and Costco members get additional savings through their auto program. Take up to $10,000 off on brand new 2021 Silverado, 1,500 half-ton pickup trucks like this Crew Cab LT was $53,030, now only $43,176. Need something besides a truck? They've got employee pricing on most Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC cars, SUVs, or trucks. Don't worry if you don't work there. They'll make sure you get that special pricing. Come see why they just make it easy. Call 816-630-3151 or go online to robertsrobinson.com. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who chase their shot of whiskey with another shot of whiskey. The type of guys who can watch a 90-minute match but fall asleep in the first 10 of every chick flick. And the men who celebrate a Tuesday night like they have the next day off. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Do you love fall-off-the-bone flavor? Try a Twin Peaks signature smoked menu item like the Carolina pulled pork sandwich or sweet and smoky ribs.
What we have, you can't find with the search engine. Maps won't navigate you there, but it makes a big difference when you find it. It isn't expensive or complicated. It's our simple, timeless values, like honesty and humility. They've helped us support our customers and communities for more than a century, and it's those values that guide us today as we seek new ways to serve you. That's tradition for today. That's Intrust Bank.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their steaks are aged 21 days, hand-cut daily, and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Your hometown radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, presents a special college football championship weekend. Friday night, we'll bring you live coverage of the Pac-12 championship. Then Saturday, the action kicks off at 11 a.m. with Iowa State and Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship. At 3, tune in to hear Notre Dame and Clemson in the ACC championship on ESPN Kansas City. And at 7, it's Alabama and Florida in the SEC championship game on Sports Radio 810. It's all on Sports Radio 810 and ESPN Kansas City.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
He lives in Minnesota where he's probably got 9 feet of snow right now as he's flying out the driveway to go get a McFlurry.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It's Matt Verderam time. I don't know if he knows this, but this is his last appearance on Almost Entirely Sports in the year 2020, because this is our second to last show, and I don't think he'll come on again tomorrow. That would be relatively unnecessary, although it might be good for the people, Matt. I don't know. Do you want to do the show again tomorrow or call it good after this one?
I think for all parties involved, including legal parties, probably this one.
That's fair.
We'll catch up in 2021.
You can get all of Matt's work even after this segment's over. Go to his Twitter account at Matt Verderam. You can check it all out on Fanside of the Stack in the Box podcast column, the Arrowhead Addict podcast, and all sorts of great Chiefs coverage just on Arrowhead Addict. Matt, a series of things that I'm very excited to talk to you about, but most importantly, did Lamar Jackson have to poop last night?
Yeah. I'm convinced from when we saw that footage of him having to kind of jog to the end to the locker room.
Yeah,
everybody's made that jog.
Everybody's been there.
You're not. That's not a cramped jog. That's a. I hope there's an open stall jog, or there's about to be mayhem.
Why not? Here's my question. We're still talking about it today now. Why not just admit it if you're Lamar Jackson? Again, everybody's been there. We all can. This can just be a very human moment for a borderline superhuman in terms of physical talent. You just had to go. That's all right. It happens to everybody.
Because in all reality, he probably needed to get a quick IV, but it's just a lot funnier to go down this whole road that he had to go to the bathroom and hold on to the porcelain for 10 minutes. But hey, listen, it was that game, and that specifically the fourth quarter. That is one of the weirdest, just played out scenarios I've ever seen. If that happened, if you did that somehow for whatever reason, if you put that in a movie, you'd be like, yeah, okay, right. You had to go to the bathroom,
right.
or he cramps so bad. And in Trace McSorley, the poor guy plays whatever it was, 8 plays, and it looks like he blows his knee out on 8 plays. It was a sideshow. It comes out, throws a touchdown, and that game. And by the way, is there anything? If you had to pick, if somebody said to you, "This is the way a team's going to lose," who is that team? There's a 1,000,000% chance it's Cleveland.
Yeah.
And of course, it's how Cleveland would lose on national television. It was insane.
I have said in multiple times that I just don't think anybody should ever bet on point spreads. And if you watch that game, if you were feeling like maybe you put a nickel on the 3 points there or 3.5, God forbid, that game ending on a 25-yard loss safety to make it a 5-point differential is just. I mean, I'm not really that tempted at this point ever on point spreads anyway because I pay attention. But, oh, my goodness, I felt so bad for so many people in that moment.
I used to gamble in college, and not a lot of money because I was in college.
Right,
money. But,
right.
There was I didn't even know the book we used. We all did. It was a group of 6 of us that all lived together. We're all big football fans. And I remember there was some prop bet that, you could bet that the first score of every game was going to be a non-offensive score, and the odds are 20 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we would pool our money, and we would bet every single game every week. You put $5 down, you bet 5 on 100. And I remember one week, 6 games in the early window. It happened at all of them.
Oh,
there were
man.
2 safeties. There was a return. We won what was a small fortune back then. And at that point, we're we're gaming the system. We know everything. We were broke 3 weeks later. So sometimes you got to learn. I luckily learned my lesson when I was 20.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. I mean, like you said, last night was crazy. This weekend of football wasn't totally bonkers. There was some kind of snoozer games that we were distracted by here because we're watching Chiefs Dolphins. But then Sunday night we got Steelers Bills, and I think you've been very level-headed on the Steelers all year long. So I don't, and on the Bills also for that matter. I don't imagine that Sunday night changed your opinion of either of those teams very much. But what were you thinking as that game was kind of unfolding as we got a little more info on both of those teams, which obviously led to the Chiefs getting the 1 seed right now?
Yeah, so personally, my thoughts were, I'm wrong a lot, but I was not wrong about either one of these two games.
Yep.
And so it basically confirmed my suspicions on Pittsburgh, which is to say, very good defensively. Not great, in my opinion. Great to me is like that Denver team halfway years ago they won the Super Bowl. That team, you felt like it was a miracle to score 15 points.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's really, really good defensively. They can't score a point offensively.
Yeah.
It is so painful to watch them try to move the ball. And like to continue to use that Denver team as a yardstick. Peyton Manning was totally shot there. They won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't like run the ball. Manning, because he was so smart, they could still function somewhat. Pittsburgh can't score a point. I have buddies who are Steelers fans. Well, I wish they'd open up the offense. Like, have you seen Ben Roethlisberger? No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, he will throw 30 interceptions. He has no arm at this point. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. As far as Buffalo goes, listen, I for the last couple of weeks, I've thought that they were the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC. I certainly feel that way now. I do believe that really, truly the biggest threat to Kansas City is Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bills have enough talent. Like, to me, the only way you're beating the Chiefs is if you get into a game where your quarterback can do a reasonable Mahomes impression, and you can just find a way to score 35 points and win a shootout and just have the ball last. And I know people always want to say, well, you ain't got to run the ball. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. If the Chiefs get 7 possessions, they're going to score 30-plus points. You have to be able to score. And so I think Buffalo can do that. Or at least has the best chance to do it. But listen, that was a great result for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs now just have to split these next 2 games and beat the Chargers at worst into the 1 seed. And I would be floored if that doesn't happen.
I want to circle back on the Bills thing there because I think that's a really we literally had a very similar conversation a little bit ago. So it's something that Seth often points out is that I think you're a genius whenever you agree with me. In this case, I think I'm actually agreeing with you from a few weeks ago, probably. But the idea that if you're going to contend with the Chiefs, you have to be able to do what the Raiders did really twice, but especially back in that first meeting where you're trading blows. I mean, we saw this just against the Dolphins. The Dolphins had. The Chiefs basically turned the ball over their first 3 possessions because it was 2 picks and then the punt that traveled 9 yards past where that drive started because they lost 40 yards on 2 plays. The Dolphins getting up 10-0 in that game wasn't that scary. If they would have been up 21-0 in that game, the Chiefs probably still win. But you know what? It's a little spooky. I do kind of like the idea that, hey, Josh Allen is more consistent this year than he was last year, obviously. Like, there's a lot of growth there. But he as he could kind of pendulum back and forth a little bit, him at his absolute ceiling feels like he's one of the very few guys who could keep a team and a good offense in a game with the Chiefs if they can get a mistake by way of their defense.
So when they played the Niners a few weeks ago on Monday Night Football, and I get the Niners, I say the team's got 5 wins, but I thought Allen in that game looked as close to Patrick Mahomes as anyone I'd seen all year long. Now, I don't know that he can do that for 4 quarters at Arrowhead in the AFC Championship. That's a whole other ball wax. That is an entirely different ask. And the Chiefs played Josh Allen, and Josh Allen threw 58 minutes that game for 90 yards. So there's reason to say, if you're a Chiefs fan, say, look, we saw him, we played him. I'd caution a little bit against that. Sometimes people get so wrapped up. The Chiefs also last year played the Texans and the Titans in the regular season and lost the games, and then got in the playoffs and smoked them. So that stuff kind of falls by the wayside. I will say this stuff. To me, there's 2 prerequisites to beating Kansas City. One is you have to have a 4-man pass rush the whole game, and the other one is you have to have a quarterback that can at least keep somewhat of a pace of Mahomes. When the Raiders beat Chiefs this year, they got pressure throughout most of the game. Carr played the best game of his entire life in that game. And they were barely able to beat him, and it was only because the Chiefs wiped off 2 touchdowns with penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't happen, the Chiefs don't lose a game since last Veterans Day.
Right.
And it's so, the thing about Kansas City that no other team can say in either conference, you have to be, and I don't care who you are, you have to be perfect, and the Chiefs have to have a bad day.
Yep.
If you're perfect The Bills, the Steelers, whatever the hell you want to throw in there, they have to play perfect and hope the Chiefs play a B game. And if that doesn't happen, if that team plays perfect and the Chiefs play an A- game, the Chiefs win.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. The Chiefs are too talented. They're just going to find a way.
Earlier in the show, we literally went back to 2006, I think it was, where I had a memory of the 49ers beating the Broncos at the last week of the regular season, and the Chiefs made the playoffs because of that. And I was like 13 and ecstatic because the Chiefs were making the playoffs in a year that was half Trent Green, half Damon Ewert. And I remember in years like that, having that conversation so many times from the other perspective of going like, well, you know, if the Chiefs play their best game and they can get Peyton to turn it over a couple of times, and the Chiefs are even beyond. It's not just that those situations are flipped. To your point, they can turn the ball over a couple of times and the other team can play a perfect game, and it still might not be good enough, especially if they're not literally perfect for all 4 quarters. I don't know. You'll have a better idea of this than I do, but I don't know if there's historical precedence for that.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I'll say this one. Tomorrow, shameless, I'll plug this. We're recording a new episode of Stacking the Box podcast, and we'll have Nick Wright on from Fox Sports, who, of course, from Kansas City and who is a huge Chiefs fan. So I'm pumped to talk Chiefs with him. But, you know, one of the things I'm sure we're going to talk about is just, look, their margin for error is so comically bigger than other teams.
Yeah.
Like, they went on the road against a Miami team. It's a good team. I mean, Miami's 8-4, or was 8-4. They're 8-4. You know, they have one of the better defenses in the league. They're really well coached. The Chiefs went in there, and if you are someone who listens to the Hour Attic podcast, I do. I spent the entire last week saying the only way the Chiefs are going to lose is to turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. They come out, they turn the ball over 4 times, like you mentioned. Look, I mean, Mahomes' 30-yard sack basically was the 5th one.
Yep.
None of it mattered. Like, it was like, oh, that's nice. We're still going to be up at halftime. Look, I can't express. Look, you just brought up with the 06 team. I'd even submit, like, most of the Alex Smith teams. If the Chiefs do that, they have no shot. Like, none. And by the way, I would also submit that any of the other 31 teams in the NFL will lose that game. It didn't even matter. The Chiefs were up 30-10 with, like, 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. It was like, oh, yeah, we fumbled at the 10-yard line. That's fine. Threw a pick in the red zone. That doesn't matter. They turned the ball over 4 times. I believe one of the analytical models had it that the Chiefs lost 21 expected points on those 4 turnovers.
Crazy.
21 points made no difference.
Yeah.
0. So when you get to the playoffs, listen, the Chiefs have to tighten some stuff up. To sit here and pretend that they don't is fool's gold. But do I think they could play the way they're playing right now and still win? Yeah, probably. I mean, if they tighten it up, they have no chance of losing. But yeah, and they do need to figure some stuff out, especially fourth quarter defensively, because that is the one thing I can see fighting them in the rear end from January.
That's interesting, and that's something that I was on with Nick Short, a frequent guest on this show as well now, and he asked, you know, do you think that they're in playoff form? And you kind of you mentioned tightening some things up, and I think that where it's simultaneously true that they have not played their most perfect, flawless game. And also, I don't know that any team has. Like, I don't want to gloss over how difficult it is to say, like, play your best game in all 3 phases and never make a mistake throughout a game. Like, that's really hard because you're asking 11 guys on the field every single play to basically play to that level. But how do you balance kind of that little dichotomy there of, like, yeah, they have some things to tighten up, and also they could continue winning by not tightening any of those things up, and then specifically that late defense that you mentioned?
I think some of it is just, listen, we're all, no matter, you know, like in my situation, I cover the league, but I grew up a Chiefs fan, and so I will always be a Chiefs fan, and so when I watch the Chiefs, I watch them with even more critical eyes than I would if I'm watching Houston. Especially now, considering the standard they set for themselves.
Yep.
I mean, they're 12-1, and people talk about them in Chiefs land like they're 6-6.
Right.
I mean, there's just such an expectation of, like, well, why the hell did you beat them by 35 points? That's ridiculous. That game should be over by the end of the first quarter.
Right.
You know, I mean, while I understand that, I will say this, and it's something I have to remind myself all the time. No matter how great they are, and they're great. They're the best team in the NFL. This is the best chance we've seen of a team repeating in years.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how great they are, the other team really, they're talented too. It's the NFL. Those teams are going to play hard, and there is a little bit of a human element that sometimes you're just like, look, we're going to win this game, and you kind of ease up a little bit. Now, that said, you do have to, if you're the defense here, you do have to be able to finish a little bit stronger. Okay, against Miami, against Tampa Bay, they've had these games where these teams just start coming back, and it seems like the Chiefs offered no resistance. And in the Miami game, look, if Butker doesn't make that kick, everybody's rear end is tightening as we're coming into the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
To Butker's credit, he hasn't missed a kick since the bye week. But that's a situation where they do need to tighten that stuff up. Situationally, they've got to be better defensively in the red zone. They're a disaster. They're dead last in the red zone. It's third down at times. They're bad. Now, I did think they showed some other promising things. They got a lot of tackles for loss against Miami, which they're dead last in. They had 4 sacks. They got a ton of pressure. But I guess the long way of answering this is I tried to think historically who they remind me of as a team. And I think the team that they're most comparable to in a lot of ways is the 89 49ers, who are also defending Super Bowl champions. And that Niners team is one of the greatest teams ever. I think NFL films ranked them like the 3rd best team of all time. They did their America's Game Series. That team went 14-2. And if you look at their 14-2 record, like they lost to a Packers team. They didn't make the playoffs that year. They lost at home to them. Like they lost to Jim Everett and the Rams. They kind of screwed around with some really bad opponents, and then they got in the playoffs and won 42-17, 30-3, 55-10. And it was just like one of the biggest tour de forces you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I could definitely see Kansas City screwing up in a playoff game because they just leave these teams around. I could also see the Chiefs winning by an average of like 25 points in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's it. Good night.
I think that's a really interesting comp and what seems like a really plausible way of this all playing out. I think that's fascinating. This week is kind of interesting because they're playing a team that, and again, they could lose to the Saints and still have the number 1 seed in the AFC, so it's not as stressful as it would have been, before Sunday Night Football happened. But it's up against a team that has every argument to be, in the NFC Championship game at least. You kind of expect that, or at least you did. And then Drew Brees broke like half of his ribs. That's barely an exaggeration. And now Taysom Hill is in, and they won, I think, 9 games in a row and then lost to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in his first start. Help me understand where the Saints are at this point, and how you feel sitting here, at 9:20 Central on a Tuesday about if it's going to be Taysom Hill or Drew Brees.
I think it's going to be Taysom Hill. I don't think it's an accident that on Sunday Schefter comes out with this report of, they like to see him heal up. Maybe they'll wait till Christmas. Because they play on Christmas. They play 5 days after this game. They play against Minnesota. So I kind of think we're going to see Hill. Now, I'm not a team doctor, and I don't have enough information on it to know whether or not that's the case. I don't think anybody does that. My strong inclination is that Taysom Hill's going to play in this game. Now, with the Chiefs, there's parties that says, well, because of the way the results happen, they don't really have to win in New Orleans. Do they take their foot off the gas? But then the bigger part of me says, every time the Chiefs have played a team this year that is a good team, the Chiefs have come out and played like gangbusters the second the ball's been kicked off. This is going to be in a dome against a team that is good defensively, but also, does that matter when you play the Chiefs that you're good defense? Tampa Bay was good defensively, too, until Tyreek Hill had approximately 5,000 yards in the first quarter of the game.
Right.
I don't know that it matters. It's also hard. I was doing all these statistical breakdowns at the Saints. I was looking at the defense, and I was like, they're very tough. Then I realized that they played one game against the Broncos. They didn't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, all the stats are massively skewed. It's basically there's a 0 in one column. So the Saints are good. I think whether Hill or Brees plays, look, if Brees plays, it makes it harder. Brees is a much better quarterback, the first Hall of Famer. If Taysom Hill plays, look, the big thing is don't let him run.
Yeah.
Make Taysom Hill beat you throwing the football. I think if you're the Chiefs at that point, you don't even care necessarily about how big of a pass rush you get. It's almost like when they played Tebow back in the day.
Yeah.
Just build the picket fence, but go ahead, Taysom, beat us.
Yeah.
Throw the ball. We don't care. you know, and the Chiefs have been good about, keeping teams in front of them. They're third best in the league this year in air yards against. So, hey, throw the ball short, rally, play respectably against the run. If Taysom Hill plays, the Chiefs will win this game, period. I mean, there's just no excuse for it. If he doesn't play and Breeze plays, well, don't see how healthy he is. But, the Chiefs are a 4-point favorite on the road against a 10-3 team. So it tells you all you need to know about where they stand.
And you're right. I mean, even with Breeze, if the better quarterback plays, it's also a 41-year-old with a bunch of ribs that just got to a point where he could theoretically take a hit again and hasn't played in several weeks. I mean, that's not exactly a super ideal situation for them either. This is something.
If he plays, you better find out how healthy he is early in the game. And I'm not saying try to hurt the guy or anything. Of course not. But if you're the Chiefs, like, let's face it. In the NFL, if you play, you're saying you're healthy.
Yeah.
So if you're Steve Spagnuolo in that game, I guarantee you'll do this. If he plays, they're going to be sending some blitzes early in the game. How healthy are you? How willing are you to take a hit? Hey, if he's out there, that's what you do against any other team. So I would expect that the Chiefs will, test him and test him early.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super reasonable to say, hey, I mean, you haven't taken a hit in a while, and you're out here in harm's way to be reasonable. Are you going to be a little more jittery getting rid of the ball even quicker than usual? Not that Drew Brees has ever been slow in terms of getting rid of the ball, but I'd also on that same level, you got to know if he's healthy if you're the Saints, because if there's a chance of re-aggravation 5 days before your next game and 2 weeks before the playoffs, I don't know why you'd rush him. I don't know. I mean, I know that seeding is a big deal at this point. It seems like the Packers are probably going to end up being the 1 seed in the NFC anyway. I don't know. I wouldn't want to rush him there. This is something that I think could show up against the Saints, but it's a little more big picture. We talked about it last hour with Seth. One of the guys that we've all talked about now since April and everyone would love to see more of, especially in a matchup perhaps like what they might see against the Saints, is Willie Gay. The Saints are going to have Alvin Kamara. Maybe they have a quarterback that Willie Gay could keep an eye on in terms of just trying to track and spy Taysom Hill, but certainly they're going to have to account for Alvin Kamara out of the backfield catching passes. Damian Wilson was inactive last week. Willie Gay still only got a handful of snaps. Ben Neiman's getting his full share of work still. Do you have any understanding of just sort of what the Willie Gay Jr. situation is right now for the Chiefs, and if there's any chance of his role expanding before we see him in summer 2021?
So I remember back at the end of training camp, I talked to some people at the Chiefs and said, "Hey, look, what do you see out of your rookies? What do you think?" And was told unequivocally, "Look, L'Jarius Sneed's going to be really good. He's going to play right away." I remember being like, "Oh, okay, that's a little bit of a surprise." Mm-hmm. And then being told, Willie Gay looks terrific, but he's young, he's really raw, it's going to take a little while. It's more of a bring him along slowly type thing. Mm-hmm. I am not surprised that the Chiefs have gone this route. If you're a linebacker, you have a lot of different responsibilities. You have to know a lot. It's a complex scheme. Also, at times, depending if he's on the field and he's playing in the middle, you got to kind of quarterback that thing. Mm-hmm. So I remember last year in Spagnuolo at the Super Bowl, he was talking, and I can't remember if it was all of us or if he said this, I just read the quote somewhere, but he mentioned that one of the reasons they play Ben Neiman so much is because they trust him. They know that he's going to know where he has to be. Now, I bet fans want to throw themselves through a television screen sometimes when they see Willie Gay run like the Flash and Ben Neiman at times looks like me running. I get it. But the Chiefs' defensive staff trusts Ben Neiman. Mm-hmm. They know where he's going to be. They know he's going to do the right thing. Look, Ben Neiman gets more flack sometimes than he deserves. Like, he's not the most athletic guy. He's probably more of like a core special teams player who should rotate him. But the Chiefs start to get a linebacker, and so right now, that's what you get. Yeah. I personally believe, and I'm sure knowing Seth, that he feels the same way. Like, I'd like to see more Willie Gay just because he's so athletic that, you know what, I'll live with a couple of mistakes. Just give me a guy who can make a play. But I would be surprised. I mean, if they didn't play him last week with Damian Wilson nursing the injury, I just don't see it happening. Yeah. I don't see. I mean, if last week wasn't the time to kind of give Willie Gay some run, then I think it's probably not in the cards this year. Which, I don't know. Look, I'm not at practice every day. I trust the coaching staff. It is frustrating. He's clearly more talented than Ben Neiman, but they obviously don't trust him quite yet. So, he's going to continue to get limited snaps, I would imagine.
I think you're right. I think I've got literally nothing to argue with anywhere along that. I also would still just like to see him play more, which I know is contrary to what the Chiefs think is best, but that's me being selfish and not actually having to be accountable for what I want. So I think that all tracks. Matt, tell everybody again what's coming up this week on Stacking the Box, and where everyone can get all sorts of things from you to get them through the rest of 2020.
Sure. So we have Stacking the Box podcast twice a week. It's on Sunday. It goes out late after game Sunday night, and then Wednesday afternoon. This week we have Nick Wright of Fox Sports 1 who is joining us. Nick's a great guy. Happy to have him on. Of course, big Chiefs fan. We also do the Arrowhead Attic podcast, which is the same night of the Chiefs game. So now the rest of this year will be Sundays. And then also on Thursday afternoons, you got Patrick Allen, who used to run ArrowheadAttic.com. And then also, there's a Stacking the Box column. Goes up every Monday morning, 6 a.m. Runs about 3,000 words, covers the whole league. So some inside the league nuggets, talking to GMs, coaches, occasionally a player, agents, you name it. Check it out because what the heck? I put a lot of time and work into it, and if you think I'm worth even 2 cents, even 1 cent, read it and listen to it. Feel free to come on Twitter and get after me for it. It's fun. I'm ready and waiting.
Matt, since I will not talk to you again until after the holidays, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the holiday season. I hope you get to eat as many of those sugar cookies that I will not come and steal from your house. The frosted sugar cookies, I hope you have piles of them that bring you as much joy as you've brought everybody being on the show over the course of this year. And we'll talk to you sometime next month.
Happy holidays, and talk Chiefs football, playoff football next month.
It'll be great. I thought for sure Matt was going to tell me to go to hell for my sugar cookie take, but we got festive Matt Verderame today. Thank you, Matt. We'll talk to you again soon.
Take care.
Matt Verderame of Fansided. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame. Go support his frosted sugar cookie take. I don't like them. I think oatmeal raisin cookies are underrated. I don't mind cookies with a little texture. That's fine. It's not going to make me cut Matt out of my life. Don't. Hey, listen. Here's a quick pre-Christmas PSA. There are plenty of reasons you can cut people out of your life. Don't cut people out of your life for their cookie opinions. It's just not worth it. Cut people out of their life if they don't support your Taco Bell eating. That's something that, again, Matt and I can coexist on.
Or your favorite sports team.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is. If you're like,
well, our favorite sports team is the Chiefs. So obviously, if you don't support the Chiefs,
if you're just not rooting for the same team that we are,
yeah,
that's a very mature way of going about it.
Obviously.
We'll take a break whenever we come back. Something I literally forgot about until Rudy reminded me not very long ago. Sad fans on Reddit, Miami Dolphins edition. Was Beards actually on Dolphins Reddit, or was he just looking at pictures of steaks on Reddit? Find out next!
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
Guys, have some free time? PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy, non-smoking men ages 18 to 45 to participate in a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for 4 stays of 3 nights each and 1 follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $5,000 for time and travel. Call PRA today at 913-210-5900 or visit us on the web at prastudies.com/Lenexa.
Rally House, shop every team in town, college and pro, come on, it's time to go.
'Tis the season, Kansas City. From cozy teen loungewear to fan favorite stocking stuffers. Be the gifting MVP with Rally House this holiday season.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State, Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House, it's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Get gifting at all KC Metro locations and online at rallyhouse.com.
Bring holiday joy to your home or office with Zarda Barbecue's new Black Box Catering. Celebrate the end of a challenging year by ordering fully customizable hot meals featuring your favorite hickory smoked meats and Zarda sides. Whether you have it ordered in or ready for carryout, Zarda Black Box Catering is a great way to bring your coworkers together without a buffet line. You can even add a tasty dessert. Call our Zarda Catering specialist today or go to Zarda.com. Zarda Black Box Catering. Come get some.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It's been quite a year, and the person who's been by your side deserves something extra special this holiday. Come to Shane Company for beautifully crafted fine jewelry. Our diamond stud earrings are simply the best pair of studs in town, and we offer them in every size and price range. The stones are natural and hand-matched for consistency. A cultured pearl strand is another timeless piece. We have the highest quality pearls, full of luster and sheen. A sparkling diamond tennis bracelet or a pendant with a colorful sapphire will brighten up the season. And for a guy, our 14-karat gold chains are a stylish classic. End the year on a high note with a gift they'll treasure forever. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com. Open weekdays 9 till 9, Saturday 10 till 8, and Sunday 11 to 5.
Have you experienced Kansas City's newest high-rise apartment building? Reverb is situated in the thriving Crossroads Art District at 18th and Walnut. Each apartment home is complemented by the minimalistic, raw nature of the space through luxurious features and finishes. Reverb was created to inspire your unique personal style and provide a luxury apartment that residents can truly make their own. Reverb features floor-to-ceiling sliding panoramic windows which provide residents breathtaking city views. Check out Reverb today at 1800 Walnut in the Crossroads District or online at reverbkc.com.
Check out these great specials from Johnny's Barbecue. Get your holiday box lunch now. Each one comes with a regular-sized barbecue sandwich with your choice of hickory smoked meats, beef brisket, pulled pork, smoked sausage, or turkey. Each meal is served with barbecue baked beans, mac and cheese, and their mini chocolate truffle cheesecake. Only $11.19 per person. Call today 913-768-0777 or online at johnnysbbqkc.com. Johnny's Barbecue, a Kansas City tradition serving fresh, homemade barbecue for over 30 years.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe.
Now, it's time for Beards' book review.
Pew, pew, pew. What'd you think, Beards?
It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Very good.
This was Beards' book review.
Pew, pew, pew. On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Not a book review, but Beards McFly has tweeted, and listen, this may or may not be something relevant to your interests, but Beards is tweeting about Cyberpunk 2077, something we have not talked about on the show since it came out.
He's tweeting the fake news propaganda of Cyberpunk 2077.
Beards is tweeting, individual screenshots, so it's hard to, what he doesn't tell you is all of these images took 6 minutes to load fully before he could actually screen cap them. He originally had a character that was essentially dressed like me in my dreams. Like, you can go look at it and you'll see, but it's just like his original character whenever he tweeted Beards McFly in the quest for a better hat. That's who I want to be when I grow up. He has since tweeted that he found both a flannel shirt and a cowboy hat that's snakeskin, and he's happier now with the Cyberpunk situation. Unlike everyone else.
He's the only one.
He's certainly not listening right now. I hope Beards is having a good time with Cyberpunk. I'm not sure anyone who's having a good Cyberpunk experience, I don't want to take that from you, but I also need for you to admit that your beloved developer lied and lied and lied and lied and then delivered a crappy product to the people who have older consoles.
And then the news
which they sold games for.
Yeah, and then the news that came out today essentially about them lying to said public. It's not great. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
If EA did it, you would all be so mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
If Activision did it, you would all be so mad at them. But
Bungie, Ubisoft, all those companies.
CD Projekt Red made the Witcher games, and so you cannot say that they've been really bleepy. to their customer base whenever they were selling them pre-orders for a game on last-gen consoles and then not letting any reviewers actually get their hands on it.
That it took them 10 years to make.
And listen, there are lots of... I hope everyone who has it on PC and next-gen consoles is happy. Everyone who is playing a crummy, stripped-down version that was still 6 months away from being playable on last-gen consoles should be heard, and you should acknowledge that they got screwed in this situation. I don't know why this is so difficult to admit. I do. It's people want the thing that they're excited about to be good, you know? Like, I today, driving in, was revisiting Childish Gambino's most recent album. Because I'm thinking about this, I'm literally wearing a hoodie right now that is based on this is how much I love the album because of the internet. I'm currently wearing a hoodie that is based on a podcast about Childish Gambino's because of the internet. That's the Dissect podcast that I've mentioned multiple times. They had a merch line. I got this hoodie, and I like it a lot. I have not loved Childish Gambino's last two albums. That's fine. There are songs on both of them that I like a lot. Both of them as entire projects I have liked less than some of his older things.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
It's
That's okay.
fine to acknowledge that not everything that great creators create is going to be great.
Even it is flawless. I'm not saying it doesn't have to be flawless. There are things in it that are just like, okay, that's fine.
It happens.
That's okay.
Occasionally Mahomes underthrows a ball by a yard. It happens.
It happens. Doesn't mean you have to not be a fan of your favorite pieces of art from those people or developers or whatever. I think Nintendo's currently doing some very bad things to the Smash community. I know this. They've been really annoying about people bringing back Smash in emulators and running a bunch of tournaments and whatnot. Nintendo's been really crappy with that. I also have played Animal Crossing almost every day since it came out on my Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. It's all right.
Everyone contains multitudes.
Nintendo does a lot of things that make me mad. Like, a lot of things. They like to make my life more difficult than it needs to be playing their games. And every day I play their games. And I'm good with it.
I continually wish that Beers McFly would be a little more generous with the bleeping that he does in Sad Fans on Reddit. And, it's not perfect, but to be played every week, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Here's Sad Fans on Reddit Miami Dolphins edition. I don't know how long this one is because I never know how much these weeks.
6.5.
6.5 minutes is a long. That's fine. We'll get to it then. I'll stop talking. It's just that these last couple of weeks, Beards has spent a lot of time doing delicious steaks on Reddit.
This is still shorter than normal because, well, the steaks on Reddit.
I was going to say mistakes were made, but Beards missed no steaks on Reddit on Sunday. He did probably miss some funny comments, though.
Missed.
Let's hear Sad Fans.
Hey, guys, it's Beards. I don't have too much to say this week.
Shocker.
On Sad Fans. Miami fans are a little bit more optimistic.
Looking at steaks.
Because they thought this was Tua's best game that he'd played.
The worst part here is he's just lying to the public.
The Chiefs.
Just like his heroes at CD Projekt Red.
There was still some good stuff, though.
Just admit you were looking at steak. We're fine with it.
That's about it. So without further ado, Sad Fans on Reddit.
We've accepted it, Beards. Just admit it.
If you own a PS4, you cannot hear the next 6 minutes of Sad Fans on Reddit. It just won't play.
That Miami Dolphins fans.
Just sounds like.
Jakeem Grant is the Walmart version of Tyreek Hill. SMH. Tua's got a bunch of losers to work with. Grant, I've had your jersey for 3 years now. You're making me look like an idiot. Oh boy, here come the Fitzers. Who is he supposed to throw it to, Romo? Comment. The game is moving too fast for Tua right now. Reply. Our receivers are moving too slow for Tua right now.
Tua fast and Tua slow.
I expected us to get spanked. But man, it hurts hearing the road team get cheers. That fumble was a setup to embarrass us more. So I might have talked too much to my Chiefs friends in the first quarter.
Too much bleep.
If Reddit has taught me anything, it's that there are some real stupid people who think they understand football.
Really?
Comment.
Yeah.
Guys, what happened to Devontae? What was his injury? Reply. Brick hands. Man, I wish we still had Tannehill. We could have used him at wide receiver.
That's a good point. That's a
Defensive
good
player of
point.
the year is the Miami offense. We have our quarterback. He's making chicken salad out of chicken right now. Surround him with some semblance of weapons and watch the sparks fly. Comment. Imagine we played this game under Gase.
Oh.
Reply. 70-6, Chiefs win. Well, if we only beat the Chiefs once this year, I'm glad it'll be in the AFC Championship game. Siri, load program Miami Miracle, the sequel. Kick a field goal, onside kick, and pray that God spurns his son on the other team on the Hail Mary.
Because the son is Patrick
Gambler's
Mahomes.
about to be on suicide watch, LOL. Adam Gase would have himself down 30-10. This is one of the first games where our special teams let us down. Not special. I want to see Tua's numbers adjusted to not throwing to scrubs. I wonder if the Chiefs have ever committed a holding penalty.
I haven't watched the other games.
Just wait until Coach Flores hears that they're called linemen because they're meant to stay on the line.
Oh no, don't fight the amoeba defense.
You Gumby. I'm so sick of runs up the middle that end in us running into the of our O-line. What is even this game? Oh, what a surprise. Jakeem Grant was involved in that play. Butterfingers Grant Sr. Name a better duo than Chan and 2-yard gains on first down. That was nice of Grant to dance in place to let 8 more Chiefs get down the field. Let's sign Ocho Cinco back at this point.
Ooh, I like
These
that.
refs don't care. They just want to get paid. We won the first quarter, though. Well, at least I won't have to watch the fourth quarter to be heartbroken. The fact that we're getting embarrassed wearing throwbacks sickens me.
It was a great uniform matchup, though.
It was.
Remember when we used Jaceki?
Oh.
Comment.
Got hurt probably not long
I'm
after.
never one for blaming the refs. But
For what?
Never.
For what?
Never.
Yes, the refs made it so we are on our 7th best receiver.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough.
Comment. You guys are the worst. Your negativity really sucks. We can get back in this. Is every game supposed to be easy? Tua is getting tested now. Let's see what the kid can do. Reply. I hate to say it, but when the opposing team puts up 28 points unanswered, the time for positivity is long gone. First quarter, good. Second quarter, meh. Third quarter, oh no. Comment. I went to take a shower, missed 3 minutes. What the happened? Reply. I'm in the shower. Looking at this thread, I don't want to know.
I just assumed that was Beards.
Wide receivers equal dead. Running backs equal dead. Offensive line equal dead. Tua equal ruh-roh. That turnover ended up helping Kansas City more than Miami. Even when Kansas City does something wrong, it ends up right for them.
It's a nice world. to live
Comment.
in. I like that.
Really is.
Chan Gailey should get fired after this game. Reply. Out of a cannon into the Jets front office. And now, the bronze medal of things that Miami Dolphins fans said on Reddit. On this episode of Where's My Liquor? And now, the silver medal. Comment. Steelers fan here, please take my strength. Reply. Off, we don't like you. And now, the winner of things that Miami Dolphins fans said on Reddit. This team is getting spanked by the Pats again.
That one's very clever. That
It
one's
is.
very good. Getting spanked by the Pats is very good.
The Pats will constantly own the AFC East.
It's true.
And the Dolphins.
I didn't have time to get this in earlier, but positivity, is that anything? I needed a third one.
There was also the time where I don't remember. I know. I wish I would remember. It might have been the first one, basically where the guy, they basically talked about wearing I've been wearing this jersey all day, celebrating. This is what they did. It was like, yeah, it's kind of like Beards on the day Cyberpunk was released, just walking around in a Cyberpunk shirt. Hyped about the game.
Should we get him like a custom jersey of some sort? It's like a number 77 that just says Cyberpunk,
It's more like Cyberpunked. Boom.
One thing we haven't talked about in this game, this is a Rudy Salazar topic. Lynn Bowden.
Ooh.
Throwing passes.
It was the Lynn Bowden game.
Catching passes. Running balls.
It was the Lynn Bowden game.
Kentucky guy.
Some people say breakout game.
I would say the first.
Some say when he has his speech one day, when he's being given that gold jacket, he'll be like, I remember the day.
I think we
saw 13th.
We saw on Sunday. We saw some of the highlights that will play towards the beginning of his future NFL Network, A Football Life video.
It's gonna be great, man.
His 30 for 30.
It's gonna be great.
About how he took over. It's sort of a. I don't wish anything ill towards Tua Tagovailoa, but I think there's going to be kind of an RG3 Kirk Cousins thing where maybe he gets hurt again and so Kirk steps in, but it's Lynn Bowden. But he's throwing passes. He's doing what Tom Brady couldn't do.
He didn't go to Kentucky to be a quarterback. He just ended up there, and it worked out pretty well. He didn't go to the Dolphins to be a quarterback.
Giselle said my husband cannot throw he cannot throw the ball and catch it at the same time.
Lynn Bowden can.
She should divorce Tom Brady and marry Lynn Bowden.
Lynn Bowden sure can. Chiefs really need to draft a Kentucky guy for me. Come on, Chiefs.
I need it for you.
Come on, Chiefs.
Even more than that, we need to take a break. Get it?
Correct.
Get it? We need to...
Oh, I didn't get it.
Take a break?
Yeah, pretty good.
Because the Dolphins quarterback's name is...
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in KCK. The biggest discounts of the year are going on now with employee pricing for all at Victory Ford. That's right, all in-stock 2020s are being sold for employee pricing, plus you get all the rebates. From now till December 31st, only at Victory Ford. Visit us in person at the Legends Auto Plaza on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, or online at victoryfordkc.com. Victory Ford, where our first price is better than their last.
Want a low fixed rate in the twos? It's yours. Looking for a true no-cost loan? You got it. How does A1 Mortgage do this? The answer is simple, by offering real-time rates without the inflated markup. Call A1 Mortgage now at 816-822-8888, 822-8888. Whether you're purchasing or refinancing, FHA, VA, conventional, or jumbo, A1 Mortgage has you covered with fixed rates starting in the twos, true no-cost loans, and financing up to 100%. Call A1 Mortgage now and have your loan closed in about a week and enjoy no payments for 2 months. 816-822-8888. That's 822-8888, or apply online at mya1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group LLC, a Kansas licensed mortgage company. License number MC0001649, NMLS 268370. Programs and rates subject to change without notice.
The Chiefs are ready to run it back.
What a play by Mahomes!
And Sports Radio 810 WHB is your home for the NFL playoffs.
Wilson throws for the end zone. Metcalf has it. Touchdown, Seattle.
We'll bring you live coverage of all the action from the wild card round to the Super Bowl.
Touchdown! That's it! That's it!
Your home for the NFL playoffs. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, Kansas City, Steven St. John here for Pajamagram. You know that 2020 has been a hell of a roller coaster, so this Christmas, spoil the woman you love by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas exclusively from our friends at Pajamagram, America's PJ experts for nearly 20 years. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin. She'll love slipping into these every night because the texture and touch of naturally nude pajamas is so soft and luxurious, they'll melt away her stress. Check them out at pajamagram.com, and listen to this, because right now, when you order today, you'll get a great deal, free gift packaging. That means you don't have to wrap a thing, so beat the holiday rush. Go to pajamagram.com and get her these naturally nude pajamas and get your free gift packaging today before this deal disappears. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's pajamagram.com, and please tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
Greg Gurley here for Buck Roofing. The only consistent thing about Kansas City weather is change. There's only one company I trust, and that's the same company I called to work on my mom's house, Buck Roofing. Put this number in your phone, 913-384-2680. I'm a Jayhawk, and we know Ron's a Wildcat. The only thing we both agree on is Buck Roofing is the best roofer in all of Kansas City. Your home is probably your biggest investment, which is why you need a trusted roofing company to repair or replace your roof, and that company is Buck Roofing. When Ron Buck and his team repair or replace your roof, you know they will be here years from now to take care of anything you need for the life of your roof. Need a little help with financing? Buck Roofing can arrange that as well. For all your repair and replacement needs, call Buck Roofing, 913-384-2680, or online at rbuckroofing.com. Sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
The bigger news of the day, though, is something that was taking us over an hour to get to because, ta-da, two thumbs pointing at this show.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Really important that I mention this because it provides me a chance to use my platform for something genuinely useful for once. This was tweeted out by a variety of people. I'm seeing it here from Jenna Lane of ESPN on Twitter. It is a letter from a company to a quarterback. Dear Mr. Lamar Jackson, I watched you rally your team to victory last night against the Cleveland. I don't know if I can say that phrase. I don't think I can say that phrase either. I mean Browns. If I wasn't mistaken, it looked like you headed to the locker room mid-game because of cramps. We all know it was a drop of deuce, though. And then you ran back onto the field and marched the team down the field to score a late touchdown. Paul Pierce be damned. As a founder of Tushy, a modern bidet company that cleans your butt clean after you poop, I wanted to reach out and extend you a special offer. As a quarterback, you have to make tough decisions on and off the field, and what you did last night was nothing short of extraordinary. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Diarrhea can be scarier than Myles Garrett chasing you down as you scramble for that first down. Anyway, I'd like to formally extend you an offer to receive a Tushy bidet. It'll give your butt the clean it deserves. And it goes through a bunch of reasons that you should get a bidet. I would like to use my platform to create positive social change. Everyone. Even if Toilet Paper Mageddon didn't convince you of this fact, of this truth, buy one of the bidets that you can just hook up to your toilet water line. It'll just sit on any toilet. Most of them will work. Look on Amazon or whatever. Your butt is dirty, and it doesn't have to be. Just get... this is not sponsored by any bidet company. I think all of them will work.
But it could be.
It could be. Oh, my goodness. Oh, can you imagine? Oh, I would be so happy to be sponsored by a bidet company. It just... You wouldn't wipe your hands with toilet paper and then go eat a hamburger with 6 patties. Get up a day, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Bye, Mom.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Briscoe on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech for your business. Save big on the latest computers powered by Intel Core processors for your small business. And don't forget to shop servers, storage, and thousands of top-brand electronics, all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech for your business needs at 877